Ian.
No. All right. We're live. And I have no idea if anybody is watching.
What?
Oh, yeah, we've got 10 people watching already. There we go.
10 people.
All right.
It's a little dark. I'll brighten it up here. But
Yeah.
Let us know in the chat if you can hear us okay, if it looks okay. I know it's a little dark. I'll try to brighten it up here. We are live. We're actually not in Tokyo, full disclosure.
No.
We're on the other side of the world. We're in Boston.
But
Boston.
together.
Yeah, we're
like
together.
6 weeks early here
That's
in
right.
Boston.
Are we staying here until the marathon?
Yeah, we're
Oh.
here doing.
I love
So
Boston.
We're gonna do a live watch along kind of live podcast, live show thing.
Mhm.
Haven't really live podcast, live show thing. TM.
Yeah.
That's a marathon handbook
live
original.
show thing. I need to caption this for the Instagram.
That's right.
Okay.
And so we're going to do a little watch along. We're going to take in the marathon. Obviously, the good people at Flow Track have got the streaming rights. So we're not showing the broadcast because that would be illegal.
It's not allowed.
Copyright infringement.
It's not allowed.
But we are going to take the race in ourselves. We're going to talk about the race overall, talk about the history of the race, talk about marathon majors, talk about the elite race and what's happening and what we're excited about and sort of as it unfolds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a live instant reaction podcast after the elite races wrap up to talk about what happened.
Hmm.
Hopefully something really exciting is going to happen.
Yeah. So we have some comments. Okay, sound is good. Thank
Excellent.
you, Axe. I'm far from the
That's Axe. Very
Axe.
good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, sounds
good.
great.
Okay,
Yes.
Good.
Awesome.
All right.
Comments are welcome as well. If you've got
Yeah.
any questions, thoughts.
Mhm. Or you want us to, I don't know, like move around, show our good side. If anything is bothering
Give you a tour of the hotel room we're in right now.
It's over here. Oh, it's fried.
So the elite wheelchair race is about to start. The Tokyo elite races themselves start at 7:10 p.m. Eastern time. That's 9:10 a.m. tomorrow, Sunday, Tokyo time.
Yeah.
So amazing experience for us in the Eastern time zone because it's like we're watching this in prime time on a Saturday.
Yeah.
night.
Actually
Excellent.
watching sports
Yeah.
compared to so every other race that's not Boston or New York, you have to watch it at like 2 a.m.
That's right.
Yeah, it was Berlin. That was tough last
Oh,
year. That we
God.
had to wake up, I think, at 1.
Yeah. When Michael's
1
like, you
a.m.
guys are watching, right? And I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
come on,
It was tough.
Yeah, I watched this race last year in the weirdest of circumstances. I watched the Tokyo Marathon in a airport lounge, and I was like, I held off on getting onto my flight until the last possible
Ugh.
second because like because of the end of the women's elite race was not yet quite wrapped up, and
Oh,
I was like,
no.
I just give me 1 second. They're like the plane has boarded, sir. Get on the plane. And I'm like, okay.
You're the guy who held up the flight.
I'm at the gate staring at my phone. So yeah,
Not
so
on airplane mode.
the mass race, the elite race, along with what looks like the first wave is about to start. So this is the first major of the year. It's kind of exciting. You got it in March coming out. And I think this year could be like nerd out with the elite stuff throughout. I think this year could be a big year for elite running. I think that we're going to see something special at one of the majors this year in terms of like on the men's side, presumably we'll see a sub 2 hour race potentially.
That's evolved a lot in the last couple weeks for us. So we can get into that a bit later. But are we seeing
especially because we're seeing such huge record-breaking times? We're not shaving 1-2 seconds off, friends. We're shaving 45 seconds, 2 minutes. So maybe it could be a nice surprise this year.
Obviously, Jakob Kaplimo.
Yeah.
Jacob Kaplimo. We're going to Jakob now because of Mr. Ingebrigtsen on the track.
I like it. You're like Jakob.
Yeah, we're going to Jakob. But yeah, we've seen some crazy half marathon performances already this year. So that's gotten us like pretty excited about what we can see in the marathon. But okay, 2-hour marathon today. Let's just call it right now. We're seeing a 2-hour marathon today.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think we're going to see a sub 2 hour marathon today. We might see a very fast race in the women's side because there's the returning champion Satume Kebede is racing again, and she had a hell of a year last year.
Yep.
She's run 2:15 or 16. I'm just going off the top of my head here.
2:15:55.
High. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bridget Kosgei.
is
world
back.
record holder.
Yeah.
2:14. So she was like the dominant the dominant marathoner for a while, and then until the record just went haywire.
Yeah, because she has 2:14:04. Right?
2:14:04, but that was in 2019. So she's got this mission of, can I recreate this magic years later? Those are 2 of 3, right?
So if you're, just to chime in here about the overall experience, if you're looking for a live stream, it's always a bit mysterious who's going to carry the live stream in North America and Europe for these majors. And this one is indeed with FlowTrack. So we've got the link in our description here if you want to live stream along it. You have to pay for a subscription. And I recommend you do use this as like a second screen type experience, like a hangout here.
Yes.
But I would say watching this, you guys getting that feeling? Katelyn, you're running the Boston Marathon in a month and a half.
6 weeks now? Yeah.
You're running the Boston Marathon in a month and a half. Alex, you've never run a marathon before.
No, don't rub it in.
And I've done a bunch of the majors. I've never done Tokyo. And I'm like watching the hype, the startup, the hype of this race, like all the runners at the starting.
Yeah.
It's like a huge field of people. Crazy helicopter shots overhead a second ago. Shows you the huge field of people. The 3-hour pace bunnies with the big silly flag on them.
Excitement is rising. or stress. I'm like starting to sweat.
You're like, it's hot in here.
It's 15 degrees Fahrenheit out, but I'm like sweating.
Yeah. Getting a little nervous.
I am nervous. Just watching this. Well, the wheelchair start has now taken off.
Yeah, we got the wheelchair start.
Yep.
And we're like 3 minutes away from the start of the elite race. And I think the wave 1 of the mass field is starting as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to like quickly put the live stream link on the Instagram to make sure people can find us. But hey, okay, well, I just love looking at the comments. We have shout outs from Australia.
Cool.
South Carolina from Sam Sanders. We have, I think I see Mexico. It's the emoji small here.
Oh yeah. Do you need my reading glasses, Alex?
No, I'm 29 years old, Katelyn. Don't insult me like that. We have Michigan. FlowTrack is the first.
Oh, they do? Nice.
Okay, thank you.
That's so cool. Okay,
that's awesome.
That's a great tip. Thanks.
I mean, if you're a diehard fan of track and field, it is a pricey subscription.
Yeah.
But they cover enough of the major events that it's like, it's just worth it, right? And obviously, like if you want to nerd out and watch a major marathon, like you just dip in, watch the first half and hang out with us for the second half.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We'll let you know what's going on. I can tell you the weather. 13 degrees Celsius. That looks like a pretty nice day. Nice running weather.
I
Perfect.
have no idea how to calculate what 6 meters per second is for wind speed. That's like I'm a meters guy because I'm Canadian with metric, but like I don't know what that means. Is that fast? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't
That's
look.
Why we have an American.
Just analyzing the roads.
But to be honest, I only work in kilometers in Celsius. Being in Costa Rica for almost 20 years. I mean, I'm on board with you guys.
How do you guys feel about, okay, we're looking at the start list here.
Yep.
How do you feel about, okay, Benson Kipruto, returning champion, he gets the -- 1 bib from what I can tell. Joshua Cheptegei gets the #2 bib. No pressure.
No pressure at all.
Yeah.
Where's your comeback?
But you could make a case that he doesn't deserve it because he's a 209 guy.
He's
208.59.
59.
208.59. So he's like, that puts him 15th-ish on that elite list. There are many men who are faster than him, but you don't know. Joshua, he's like track god, right? He's got the 5 and 10,000 meter world records still. He's an absolute stud. He just hasn't put it together in the marathon just yet. So
yeah, I'm gonna switch our angle here.
Oh, okay. We got some big news here. Bridget Kosgei, DNS.
Oh,
she's
wow.
not starting.
Okay.
So one of the returning champions, she wasn't one of the, I wouldn't have called her a favorite, but one of the more talented athletes in the field will not start. Bridget Kosgei's out.
So this ends up good. Like we kind of got sidetracked. This is going to be a 3-horse race, in my opinion, on the women's side. Becoming maybe a 2-horse race. The other horse we didn't talk about is Tigges Katema. So she is the 2024 Dubai Marathon champion, and she was a track runner.
Yeah. She won Dubai. She won Berlin last year.
Yeah.
But those are her first 2 marathons.
Yes.
her debut was extremely fast and very confident.
She has a 2:16.
Her Berlin win was very solid as well. So I think Situme Kebede, I believe the other champion from a couple of years ago.
We've got Rosemary. Yeah.
Wenjiru,
Wenjiru
the
was good,
runner-up from last year. So we have the winner and the runner-up from last year facing off again. So, yeah.
Pacemakers for the men.
A
Number one
201.
group 201.
Wow.
Pacemakers for the women. Number one group 212. That's spicy.
Wow, we're not messing around here.
Nope.
No, I love how they provided that information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Usually you're sort of doing a guess.
You're guessing.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get the start here any second now.
Yep.
We're probably experiencing a very slight delay in the stream because imagine the Japanese get things started on time. You know, they're a culture that is known for precision. So here we go. We got the start here. At least from our stream, we got the start. You may be ahead of us. If your stream is ahead of us, we're using a somewhat questionable Wi-Fi connection from the Hyatt in Boston.
The West.
District.
We're the
Weston.
Give Weston the credit that it deserves.
Okay, so
and they're off.
Oh, that is so cool.
Starting
so
huge group of people. Really curious to see if they like get into their groups right away, or if you like, I mean, because something that happens in like Boston, for example, where there's no pacemakers, is you'll just get a couple of randos running at the front for the first mile.
They want the picture.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but just by looking at it, you can tell that on the right side, like those are the elites, and on the left side, what's the separator? Like, why the separator?
Just to funnel athletes.
Just to funnel.
Yeah. Though the measurement will be the same. They do this in other majors as well. Chicago, London actually has you coming in from a whole bunch of different angles. So theoretically with the London Marathon, there's like, in a sense, there's like 3 different courses because they funnel athletes from 3 different entry points. Now, obviously the elites are all together, right? So, we're already 400 meters into the race and everyone is now funneled together on the main boulevard here. Hey. Wow. That's like a pretty cool looking big city race, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Sort of Chicago vibes.
Right. Yeah. I felt that way too.
Yeah. Big, tall city. You can already tell on the side. So Michael, you made this comment in our Tokyo preview podcast that running in Japan is like football in America. And I totally agree. And so you can expect to see people lining the course throughout the course. So just look on the left here. If you have the screen, there's already
you've already
bunch
got
of people.
crowds.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get like 10, 12 deep in certain areas in Tokyo for sure, sure. Like the running culture there is absolutely bonkers. It's like they do various ekiden races, which are relay races, right? They're marathon length relay races that they run. They've got university ekidens and they've got professional ekidens as well. I believe they even have high school ekidens. So you run like a 10K, a 6.2, a 5K segment, and you have a sash that you have to hand off like like a baton. You have to run with this sash on.
Okay.
And for those ekidens, like the Chiba ekiden is a legendary one. They have a huge number of spectators lining the streets, and they like this will be broadcast on national television across Japan. It's a far cry from the North American experience with distance running, sadly, but it's like if you were to take the New York City Marathon and like 10x it, that's sort of what the interest level is in Japan for distance running.
Well, so so I just watched them go through the route of the Tokyo Marathon. Now, this for me, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the route, what I find really interesting is that for the runners, it seems like about 50% of the race, you'll be face to face with other runners.
Yeah.
Because of all of, so this is really cool. So even though I'm not a big fan of the out and backs, you've got a ton of out and backs and you go around these little roundabouts to then get out of all of the landmarks. And so you will be face to face with a lot of runners, which is kind of fun because even though you'll have the spectators, you'll also be seeing the runners on the other side. So you'll have like a really big vibe of cheering other people on as you're coming face to face with them on the way back from these out and backs. So it seems like they have about 4 of those.
Okay. So we're a little over a kilometer into the start of the elite race and the mass A corral start. Let's just go through the men's race first here. Benson Kipruto, Kenyan athlete, mid-30s, sort of right at his prime. He's sneakily become one of the truly great marathon runners, at least of this generation, if not overall. He's won Boston, he's won Chicago, and he's won Tokyo.
With the course record. Right?
He's
He has
got
the
the
current
course record from last year,
And that was last year.
which is his personal best.
202.16. Yep.
202.16.
Yeah.
So he's the favorite going in. He's got to be the favorite going.
He's got to be the favorite, and he's got to be the reason that these men are going out in 201 pace.
Right.
That makes me excited because that likely means that he's in PR shape. And still now, not many men have gone under 202. That is still rarefied air.
Yeah, yeah. So I off the top of my head here, it's I think it's only, is it only 2 men that have gone?
Kipchoge, Bekele, Kelvin Kiptum.
Oh, 3. It's 3.
Yeah.
That's right. Poor
Yeah.
Bekele. I forgot him for a second.
But Bekele,
oh, jeez.
old news. He's got to come back.
He's like he's my contemporary.
He's not done. He's not done. I think we're going to see him again.
Yeah. So you got, I mean, if you're watching the race here, you've got Kipruto in the purple there, sort of tucked in behind the pacemakers. It looks like the pacemakers are wearing a yellow bib to differentiate them from the white bib, which is the people that are actually racing in the event. That's my guess, because some of them it says pacer, and then in other instances it actually has the athlete's name, but it's in yellow. And I think that athlete is still just a pacer. So
looks that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can anticipate that it'll bring the runners, the pacers will probably bring the runners through. They're paid to get at least through halfway, if not 30K.
Okay.
And then the gloves come off, and then it's every man and woman for themselves. So the one thing I will have as a criticism from last year's broadcast, and I don't know if it was just technical issues or what, but last year they did not have very much of the women's race on the live stream. It was a lot of the men's race. It was a lot of Kipchoge for the first half because he was the big headliner.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of the women's race, and they kept like occasionally cutting back, and you're like, what's happening? So hopefully this year they'll have correct.
They don't have staggered starts, right?
No.
So yeah, they haven't shown the women.
And so far it's been almost all the men. And this is like super early. I don't want to get into pacing too quickly, but it looks like they're just under 206 pace from the start. So if the pacemakers are out there for 201, they're doing a pretty crappy job already.
They're a little behind already.
Yeah, and if I recall, the course at the start is a tiny bit downhill, like most majors are. You usually start with a bit of a downhill. That's where you gain your time, right?
It's a downhill for the first, I think, 5 kilometers, Tokyo. Okay. So it's actually a very quick opening 5K. So they're actually kind of jogging right now. Yeah. So they're going, what you said, like 205 or 6 pace, right?
Yeah, about 205 mid, it looks like. Yeah. So we had started going with the men, right? So Benson Kipruto, we'll call him the class of the field. Joshua Cheptegei is likely your big surprise, your dark horse.
Yeah.
Mentioned a bit earlier. I'd say Duresa Galeta might be the number 3. He's like a bona fide 202 runner. He's run 202 a couple times. He was 5th at the Paris Olympics. Yep. And so he's another guy that I would think could probably hop on to that 201 pace, feeling optimistic about it. Yeah. I think he's maybe your number 3. You know, Katelyn, who do you have? You're kind of a Legacy girl.
Oh, you guys want to do this right now? Well, like, I mean, it's really early in the race, and we haven't seen any separation really just yet. And it's been a relatively conservative pace thus far. So, I mean, we might as well. We've made our picks last week on the podcast when we did our Tokyo preview, but you want to this is an opportunity to amend your choice.
And you guys know Katelyn. That I went with. You guys are saying that because you know who I went with, and I went with Cheptegei.
You did go with Cheptegei.
I did. You know, you guys know me. I'm the optimistic one. I love the dark horses, and sometimes it happens. You never know. And I know you guys both went with Kipruto, so it's 2 against 1.
And I'm staying. I'm staying.
And you're staying. I'm sure you guys are staying
on the Kipruto. I mean,
yeah.
What I would like to know is which man pushed for that 201. Could it have been Cheptegei? Could Cheptegei have come to that technical meeting and said, listen, I'm the fastest 10,000 meter runner in the world. Training has gone well. 209 was a blip. My training buddy, my partner, Jacob Kaplimo, just ran 56 high in the half marathon.
Right.
I have a 201 in me. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Could it be?
He could have.
I think it's far. I think it was probably Kipruto. But
you know what? You just bring something interesting up here that I really haven't given much thought about until now, which is, as you said, Jacob Kiplimo and Joshua Cheptegei, fellow countrymen, teammates in many respects, training partners, from my understanding as well. So that means theoretically, as Kiplimo was doing that monster build towards the half marathon world record that he ran 2 weekends ago now. Was it 2 weekends ago? Does that mean that Joshua Cheptegei was doing those monster workouts too in preparation for Tokyo?
That's what I'm saying. Possibly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
You guys just wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Drinks are on you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Drinks, drinks are already bought, by the way. So
Yeah.
I have a fun fact as we wait for this
Oh,
stream to buffer a little bit.
You bought a Sapporo.
I got myself a Sapporo beer because it's a Japanese beer. So I say, hey, I'm watching a Japanese race. Let's buy a Japanese beer.
Sure.
And then I looked back and I said, so where exactly in Japan is it made? Is it like,
well, it would be made in Sapporo if it were made in Japan.
No, but I thought, sometimes it's made somewhere near Sapporo.
Sure.
It's made in Richmond, Virginia.
So it's not a Japanese beer.
No, it would be imported by like InBev or one of the major companies that owns like all the North American beers, and they brought it in and they're brewing the recipe. Don't you worry, it's the Sapporo recipe. It's going to taste the same.
Brewed and canned by Sapporo Brewing Company, Richmond, Virginia, and also Escondido, California. Man, okay. Well,
do you feel let down?
Okay, we're 3K in. 838 was the split at 3K. Let's do the quick math on that. They've picked it up a little bit.
8:38. Oh, that's a lot quicker.
Yeah. So because there's some pretty decent downhills here in the first couple of kilometers, right? So they're like right at 3K. There's a downhill.
They just dropped it like 245 kilometers.
There you go.
Yeah,
so
they picked it up a lot.
It's already been a lot. There's already quite a bit of separation between Group A and Group B.
Yeah.
And as we said off the top, it appears as though it's a 2:01 for the men's race that they're going to pace out at, and a 2:12 for the lead group in the women's race.
We have not seen the women's race yet.
We have not seen 1 second of the women's race yet.
And we're 3K in.
Yeah, which is not awesome.
No.
So we will definitely, I think we'll try to bring up on the laptop like what's going on in the women's race and get some live splits and that sort of thing, so we can provide a bit of commentary on that.
Someone just said on the feed, my feed went out on FlowTrack.
Okay,
don't worry.
Okay, ours just cut out too.
Yeah, it's also dark here.
It's dark here as well.
Okay, so as
we'll vamp.
Yeah, it's good to know we're not the only ones.
Yeah. I'm going there. I'm coming back. I'm gonna cut the sound to make sure we're not buffering so much the sound on the stream for us.
Yeah, sure,
we're
of
not
course.
using the sound.
Yeah. So anyway, so we are here in Boston because the Boston Run Show, which is like this it's like a running expo minus the race, is this weekend, and we just did a live podcast today on the floor,
which went great.
Yeah, I don't know if you're one of the people that happened to be in Boston and swung by to watch our live podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming. If it
went really
well.
comment. Yeah, like more people than we thought, and a lot of people that I guess watch and listen to the pod on a regular basis.
Very fun.
So that was cool. If you're watching this for the first time because you were searching for, Tokyo Marathon illegal streams or whatever, welcome. You're among friends here. I have definitely done that in the past.
Yes, and nothing that we're doing here is illegal.
We're keeping it clean. Sadly, you're not going to get a pirated stream from us, but we will talk about the race in some detail, and it's a watch along show, so we will talk about what's happening in the race.
Our stream right now is as dark as yours at home.
Yeah, the stream seems to have cut out from the flow track. This happened a couple of times last year during the stream as well, because they're just all flow track is doing is they're pulling a live feed from the Japanese feed, right? And then they're providing their own commentary on top of it, just like kind of like us talking here right now. It would be the exact same thing. Last year they had, I think it was Brett Larner, who's Canadian, I've discovered, who's a guy who's like deeply involved in running in Japan.
Yeah, okay.
He's been living in Japan for many years. Yes.
Yeah.
He had like Japanese running news, I think was his website. It was like a blog spot for a long time. But he was doing great. He's been doing great work covering the Japanese elite running scene and Japanese running culture for a very long time. I think he's also a bit of an agent too for some Japanese athletes and I think a few Kenyan athletes in Japan as well. So he did the broadcast last year from my recollection. I hope I'm not wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he did it. But I mean, all it is they're just watching it in a booth and they're talking to the pitchers as well. So once we get the stream back,
Yeah.
once FlowTrack is able to start producing the stream again, we will talk over top as well. In the meantime, we'll definitely bring up the splits and the live splits from the race so that we can kind of keep you in the loop as to what's happening and what we think's going on.
Yeah, we have a commenter who says that they're in a hotel room in Tokyo and
get out.
Gonna go down at mile 22 and watch it live for a bit. Jeff Holman, good luck.
Fun.
I'm jealous.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, if we had our act together more, we would have coordinated with you and had you with your phone doing some sort of like live video feed on our behalf.
I mean,
in the last few kilometers.
Mile 22.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Jeez, I hope so as well. Yeah.
Because that halfway point for FlowTrack is probably getting a bit close now. So.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Because it's free for the first.
Yeah,
that's a clever maneuver by FlowTrack to kind of like hook you in, right? It's like you can watch the first 60 minutes of the elite race is free, then you got to pay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against monetizing this stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Should we try to refresh this stream?
Yeah, you try refreshing the stream.
Also, like if anyone's watching us and their stream started working, like
please let us know. Yeah. We can know if it's some sort of connection here.
I think with Cheptegei, with Joshua Cheptegei, who is obviously like a super tantalizing talent in distance running, and the idea of him transitioning to the marathon and the roads full time and becoming kind of like an A-list type performer is a really exciting prospect that I hope pans out. And this is a really important race for him. He raced, you're not familiar with Joshua Cheptegei. The guy has got the world record in the 5,000 and the 10,000 meters on the track. He won the 10,000 meter gold medal in the Paris Olympics last summer in like pretty dramatic and forceful fashion, where he just kind of came from behind and just crushed everyone in the end, which was very exciting. And then afterwards there was this like weird buzz around him where he was basically kind of telling media that he was done.
He retired.
Right. He was retiring.
Yeah. And then it turned out he just meant I'm retiring from the track.
Right.
Yeah.
And then his debut in Valencia didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
As Michael
I mean, that was 2023. It was sort of like a throwaway event in December 2023 for him that I think is probably a day he'd rather forget, because he faded quite badly in the second half of the race and finished in like 41st or something like that. I'm going off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Very, very far back in the race.
Yeah, which was like just a
we got a blip.
We got a blip.
We're
back.
We're back.
There's a woman on the screen.
Okay, finally. We're
Maybe
gonna get
that's
some
what
of
they
the
were trying
women's
to do.
race
They're
here.
trying to figure out both cameras.
So they got like
women.
Stenson of Australia and a group of Japanese women as well, and some male pacers. It's a bit of a mess of people. They're at like kilometer 5, a little over kilometer 5 in the stream.
This is the women's. This
is the women's race.
5.3 and 17. So they've hit about 16:20-ish probably 5K on the side of things, which is a good clip. That's about 3. We're looking at 3:15s. Doing really rough math here.
Yeah,
3:15.
That's pretty quick. That's pretty quick.
Yeah,
that's very quick. So it's a big group. The thing about Tokyo is, I mean, you get this with any major marathon, but when you've got a race that's got, in this case, it's 37,500 people that are starting this race. On the women's side, you're going to get a large group of male runners that are running with the women, unless you have the women going out first on their own. So in this case, you're going to get some of the male runners that can run in the 220s and below mixed in with the top elite women, which, is probably useful for the women for pacing purposes.
I would think so.
But it's also kind of like, get the hell out of the way of the shot. Can't see who's running here, from like from a spectator standpoint, and from like, showcasing the top women in the race. It's kind of like, I mean, dude, full respect that you can run like 2:16 for a marathon. Like you're like a national class elite runner, but like,
also it's not about you.
But also like, can you slide to the side so I can see what's going on here? Yeah. So
camera's back on the elite men here, and we have about, call it 12 men running together. It's a little blurry, but I think on the inside, they're near the front. That looks like Benson Trudeau.
Yeah, Capruto's just chilling there. He's about 3 people back. Galetta's next to him. So the 2 of the top guys, 2 of the 202 guys in the race are there.
Do we see Cheptegei in there?
Oh, come on, guys. He can't be out of it already.
Oh, Katelyn.
No, come on.
No.
Smells like
it's a little laggy. I wonder if everyone else is having the same
laggy and
the
it's
same
blurry
issue.
And it's a struggle here.
It's blurry because what I want to ask Alex when we have a clear picture.
Shoot.
What are we wearing, Alex?
That's clear. Well, you need a clearer picture for that.
Exactly. We need to know what these guys are wearing on their feet.
Although I'm spotting on, I think this is.
Well, Cheptegei would be wearing the NN running team orange and white singlet, right? And there's 2 guys there.
No, talking shoes, Michael.
Shoes, though.
What are we wearing?
Oh, sorry.
As in shoes?
I see some Adidas Adios Pro Evos. So I've learned we suspected this for a long time. So this is a sidebar for the shoe heads. The fastest shoe in the world, the Pro Evo, that's like this not that durable but quite fast shoe that I love to wear on races, now has a version 2 that apparently is out there that looks roughly the same. Oh shoot, an error occurred. Okay. Next to Michael's up. And that seems to be on the feet of select elite athletes.
Okay.
And as far as I can tell, it looks the exact same. We creep the World Athletics shoe list, the whole list of shoes that are permitted in World Athletics competition. And the picture for the V2 is the exact same as the picture for the V1. So I don't know if they just look the same and Adidas is trolling everybody.
The same colorway and everything?
Like carbon copy.
Yeah, okay.
You can't really tell the difference.
Okay.
And so now I don't know. I mean, I would guess that these athletes have the V2 on their feet if they have the option for it.
Right.
So I think I see that on feet. Yeah, once we get a clear picture.
It's pretty blurry right now. Oh, there we go.
But our leader here, at least I could tell that's likely. Okay, there's
Caputo. Yeah, Caputo again.
There's Caputo. So Benson Caputo right there on your screen wearing that like purplish baby blue. I call it more purple singlet. Yeah, running next to Takule. Okay, we're
having a little bit. Well, I'm seeing in the chat as well that it's not just us.
That feed is really struggling.
Yeah. So it's not just us because of where we are. Yeah, the feed is really struggling. Eric is saying that.
Just out of curiosity, our commenter McCurdy trained. Any relation to the McCurdy race weekends? We're getting a lot of good stats from them. Says Chirac committing just ran the Houston Marathon, finished 3rd in 2:08:30. Yeah, or so. He's pacing the 2:01 group. Okay, cool to know. Yeah, likely. McCurdy train says that's me. Okay. I might try to come and do your 10K in late March. I sent you an email.
This is the
James McCurdy here.
This is the
okay, cool.
This is the race in New York. This is the race in New York where like everyone gets bottles.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been curious about that one too.
Yeah. So 2 or 3 of my friends, depending on injuries, are doing the marathon there, and they love it exactly because of that. They get the elite athlete treatment.
I think this is a really cool concept. It's also neat that the Marathon Project, we've talked about that in the past on the podcast, is coming back. So the Marathon Project, it's based in Arizona. Ben Rosario, who used to be the NAS Elite coach, spun up this idea during COVID as a one-off elite race for people trying to qualify for the Olympics in 2020, in the December of 2020. And the race is coming back, similar to the McCurdy concept. It's, elite, sub-elite, sub-elite runners. Like basically you're kind of like your sub 3 hour type runner or faster, I guess, depending on how many runners you get interested. And everyone gets sort of the elite treatment, which is really cool.
This is awesome.
And it's like a time trial type course. It's flat, fast. There's the bottle tables, the whole thing. It's like you get to run, like you get all the benefits that elite runners get when they're trying to run a fast time, which is a really cool concept, especially if you're like if you're a performance-oriented running nerd. If you're, say, watching a really brutal live stream on a Saturday night and hanging out with us, listening to us talking about it,
you might be
probably something you could be interested in. And so the McCurdy race is happening when?
That's at the end of March.
I'm sure he'll tell us in the comments.
Yeah, James, let us know.
Yeah. It's at the end of March.
He says Marathon Project gave us the idea to bring to the masses.
There you go.
Purposed for the OTQ, Olympic Trial Qualifier, and now the Breaking 3. But we're going to host a Breaking 4-hour marathon too. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. There you go.
Fun.
So
Love
like,
that. Yeah.
Okay.
The tent is growing bigger.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So
that's awesome.
Little
It's really
update on the
cool.
women's race. So I'm going to blame the laggy stream for the fact that my math was completely off. So the first 5K was not in 16:20. Kebede led the first 5K and crossed it in 15:35.
Okay.
So that's a
Okay.
3:07 pace. That's quick.
That's
You're looking at around 2:12.
Okay, so the Pacers are on.
I know, because it's my half marathon.
There you go.
There you go.
So
There
Tume
you go.
Kebede is just pumping out your half marathon
she's
and a
doing
marathon.
A SEER half marathon and then a second one.
And then a second, and then she'll just follow that up with one.
Yeah,
with
so
another
just
one.
two in a row. No big deal.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys about Kebede.
Mm.
What if she goes through the first half in like 111 and change and looks really good? Like all of a sudden we're in this like weird uncharted territory of another like
You mean like 2:11 and change?
the 211 pace.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
On target for 211.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that there's been a lot of controversy around the women's world record, around Ruth Cheptegei. It was a massive jump, but all of a sudden, if we've got a 209, we've got a 211 from Asefa from Berlin before that, and then if we get say another 211 or even 210 and change, I mean, it just feels like the landscape of women's marathoning is just absolutely shifted.
I truly hope we do get that because it's really tough to deal with the comments. And I understand the negativity about the women's world record. I understand that it was a really big jump, but I would love to start seeing these times come popping up more often so we can say, no, it was a world record. It was fair. It was well done. And we don't want, like, I want to see that. So if we get a time like that, I would be really thrilled for Ruth Cheptegei. So also take a little bit of the heat off of her.
Yeah.
They know there are other women out there doing very close times as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we need
that.
That was the difference, right? Between Kiplimo and Cheptegei. We've talked about this on the channel. Like the criticism around it is why are we so hard on Cheptegei?
Right.
And Kiplimo destroys the men's half marathon record.
45
and
seconds or
no
whatever it
one
was.
suspects doping at all.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, and the answer to that, at least in my opinion, is you look at who's close. Only 2 women have run within 4 minutes of Cheptegei's time.
Right.
25 men have run within 2 minutes, so half the distance, half the time of Kiplimo's time.
I just want to point out to you guys that I've been sort of keeping a pretty close eye on this A group here in the men's race. And Joshua Cheptegei is nowhere to be seen.
He's nowhere to be seen.
Someone just asked us if we could update them on Cheptegei, and I do not.
He is not in the first group here
right now.
My laptop is dedicated to the stream, so I don't want to mess with it because I don't want to drop the stream. Maybe look up
Absolutely.
Let's look up the splits and see if we can find like if Tokyo is providing a live splits, because I'm not against the idea of a guy like Cheptegei going for what's like the B group is still a really quick time, right? So
wasn't it 203?
Yeah.
Actually, if I run 209, do I want my next run to be 201 or 203? 203 makes a bit more sense.
Well, I think I want it to be 201.
I would love to be
but
201.
I think I'm thinking to myself, maybe I need to crawl before I can walk, before I can run.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
Or run really fast before I run really, really fast. If Joshua Cheptegei is a guy who's thinking to himself, I want to make a 5-year, 8-year, 10-year career. I mean, because he's so young.
He's 28, right?
I guess he's
No,
so let's say a 7-year trajectory. Okay, let's get him up into 35. Okay, if he wants to have a 7-year trajectory where he becomes the best in the world, or one of the best in the world, or competing for that world record and for major marathon wins and an Olympic gold medal in 2028. It probably would be pretty smart of him to have a successful race. And this is where, in a weird way, like any marathoner can relate to this, where it's like, we've all had bad races.
Yeah.
And then I think the wisest thing to do is to get yourself in a race where you're running with confidence, right? Where the whole race feels strong, it feels manageable, and you're not running someone else's race, you're running your own race. And I think that actually, in a weird way, like listen to me, like, you know, my PB is 2:38, and I'm giving Joshua Cheptegei advice here,
tips.
But I think that just like from a strategic standpoint, that would be a really smart move.
Yeah.
So if he's back in the 203 group or even beyond that, I think as long as the guy runs an even split and has a good successful race, it's a really good step forward for him.
Right.
If he has DNS'd or dropped out in the first 5K, it's not a great scenario. It doesn't bode well for his
because he
future.
really needs a comeback after Valencia. I mean, he needs to have a good race.
Oh yeah, I gotta flip.
Yeah.
So nobody cares. I got new shoes, says a commenter. Yeah, we care. Oh,
Yeah,
his
we
name.
all care.
Wait, I don't know. Wait, his name is Ted Bundy. I don't know. We'll go no comment. Okay, our stream is back.
Okay, let's see if we can find Cheptegei. Okay.
Yeah, so 28.54 for 10. 28.54 for 10.
For 10K.
They're a few seconds off the 201 pace at this stage. They're not far off, but they're a little bit off.
And they have to make up like that pretty big gap in the first 2 kilometers. They really dug themselves a hole in the first 2K.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have taken advantage of the downhill.
Yeah. This is the second group for sure here.
Yep.
Yeah. I just want eyes on Cheptegei.
I do as well.
What he's looking like.
Especially because he's my guy.
He's your guy.
Yeah, he's my guy. Come
Especially
on.
because you got $5,000 on him winning now.
I think it might just because they passed a fueling station, but that first group looks untangled. They're all over the place.
See, and there's the out and back. Yeah. They're going to go by and they're going to see the second group on the other side.
Hairpins are really tough.
Yeah, they are.
Particularly in a major, like it's one thing if you're in the smaller elite group, but it's another thing altogether if you're going through like the first 10K in a major marathon and there's like several hundred of your closest friends on either or all around you. It's a bit of a hairy experience going through a hairpin, and it really like takes the bite out of your flow quite a bit. But it's pretty early in the race though, so I mean it's not going to throw these guys off very much. But
there are about 4 or 5 of them.
I think that might be Cheptegei there.
Okay, in group 2.
In group 2, so a lot of these men are wearing these pink shoes that I'm trying to identify here.
Could be the Vaporfly 4.
It could be the Vaporfly 4.
I like this neon pink.
So the Vaporfly 4 for the shoe nerds out there came out today, and it's a small super shoe.
Yeah,
it's kind of the opposite of the Alpha Fly, which is big and massive. The Vaporfly is the 4 is lighter. It's not 40 millimeters like pretty much every other super shoe on the face of the earth, and it's light. Like if you're a fan of that Adidas Adios Pro Evos. You might also like the Vaporfly because they weigh next to nothing, and they have a bunch of colorways, and they just came out. So I'm guessing that's what it is. Meanwhile, our leader striding along in those Adidas, again, I think Pro Evos
for sure
V2s. We think it's V2s.
I would say so, unless you have like a real specific love for the first version of the Pro Evo. If you're an elite runner, you're going to go with whatever the newest version is that your sponsoring brand is going to give you, right?
Oh, here's the list for the women.
Kebede still leading.
She's up
31:22. So she's slowed down a little in that second. So she was 15:35, and then after that, I guess that's a 15:47 for that second split. My math is right here.
And is she up by quite a bit ahead of her?
Yeah.
Well, we've got Rosemary a minute behind.
Yeah. So Kebede is out on her own.
Wow.
With a group of men. Okay, we're getting her in the shot there in the center. Interestingly, she switched to on last fall. Okay, so I saw her at Chicago, and in the press conference, she was part of the press conference. And she just came out like fully decked in on the Swiss brand. And she ran Tokyo last year in Nike. Because she was sponsored by Nike last spring. So she ran Houston and Tokyo and had the 2 big breakthrough races in Nike. And I believe she was wearing the Vaporfly 3 shoe. And she was a Nike athlete at the time. And then obviously On just cut her a big massive check and said, like, we want a top flight athlete.
Yeah.
We want a global star.
Yeah.
You're on the rise. We'll give you some money. Good for her.
Yeah.
And so she's an On athlete now. Presumably she's wearing the Light Strike LS, that shoe that the robot makes.
Yes. Yeah.
Killer shoe. We've all had it on our feet at this point.
We never got to take him home.
We have, we weren't able to leave.
About that shoe.
We weren't able to leave with the Light Strike LS, but I think we're going. I keep promising Katelyn this. I think we're going to get some pairs. We're going to get some pairs. And so I think Kibede is probably wearing that shoe. It's the same shoe that Helen Obiri wore to win Boston. And also do very well in the Olympics.
Podium.
It's a very interesting shoe. I believe in the shoe. I think that the upper is obviously very comfortable, but the actual midsole is really good too. So
I put them on and they fit like a glove.
Clearly a quick shoe. And obviously Kibede had no issues with it because she ran quite well. Lost in the Ruth Cheptegei world record in Chicago. Kibede ran really a gutsy race, kind of like a cross country style race where it's like your top competitor goes out crazy hard. You have no other choice but to go with them. And then it's like, so often that produces a bad result for the second place person because they just get burned out and then they're left on their own. Right. In her case, she hung on, she finished second. So
right now, this is we're fixing the stream again. Breakneck tactic by Kibede. She's going out in 2:12, maybe a little bit slower, 2:13, a touch slower, 2:12 mid to 2:13 pace. When no one in the race has run that, the fastest athlete in the race with the 2:14 cost guy, it has not started the race.
Right.
And so I kind of like what she's doing here. If she were going for the win, she wouldn't be going out that hard. Right? She would just be going out with Katema and they try to run a 2:16 together and that would be that.
Well, she's going for time then.
I guess she is going for time.
Going for time.
Well, there has to be some pressure on these athletes with Cheptegei.
Of course.
2:09.
Yeah, I feel so.
Right?
Yeah.
At 2:15, at 2:16 doesn't mean nearly as much. It just feels
it's not even close.
Do you remember when Paula Radcliffe had the world record?
Of course I do.
At 2:15 it seemed untouchable.
And held on to it for how many years?
Oh God.
It was a ton of time
like
that
more than a
record didn't.
decade?
That record did not get touched. Paula Radcliffe, who is coming to Boston, right? She's racing. What's that? Oh, she's running Tokyo right now.
She's running Tokyo.
Oh, excellent.
And
that's
Boston.
awesome. I can't wait that she's going to be in Boston. That's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Katelyn, are you going to be hanging on to Paula Radcliffe?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I don't know. I haven't seen her training yet.
I hope for Katelyn's sake. It's like a dream and a nightmare at the same time that you're a couple of K into the race and you're getting comfortable. And then all of a sudden there's this like weird group of like 15 people and then a camera, like a motorbike and a camera just like envelop you. And then you're like, oh, Paula Radcliffe's running my pace today.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? She's like going with her, like with a friend who just started running.
You're just like this.
And I'll just like jump right in there for the
she's
photo.
Like just chatting and you're just like, I'm
yeah.
trying to focus, Paula.
Yeah, and I'm dying.
But it's worth throwing your race to just try.
Absolutely, just to get that photo or video footage. Well, I ran with Paula Radcliffe.
There you go.
So we haven't mentioned this name yet. I hope I'm pronouncing this okay. Aoi Ota.
Oi Ota.
Ota.
Japanese runner who's sort of been kind of driving the bus for the first chunk of this race.
Yeah. He's in front of the Pacers. Well,
he's going back and forth.
Okay, he's
just tucked back in behind the Pacers.
Yep.
I love where Benson Kipruto is right now.
Yeah,
he's showing that he's like a total veteran, right? Like he's just sort of hanging out there in the middle of the group.
He's coasting in the middle. I love it.
These guys are
smart
sweating.
Racer.
These guys are sweating.
The Pacers.
Yeah, it's a little warm.
No, everybody. Yeah. They're like I'm not I'm being literal. They're very sweaty. I think it's hot.
13 degrees Celsius right now for me would feel like a hot summer day. And obviously the dudes that are training in Kenya and Ethiopia, this is pretty comfortable. It's pretty like par for the course in terms of their training. So, Alex and I, we live in Canada, we live in Toronto, and we've had a lot of interactions with the elite athletes that have come through the Toronto Marathon over the years, working at the race a few times and that sort of thing. I used to do the broadcast at the race for the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. And the Kenyan runners and the Ethiopian runners would always say it's like Toronto's too cold. Even though like scientifically the optimal running conditions for a marathon is like 7-8 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
The the East African athletes would always find that temperature like just sort of like bone chilling because it's a slightly more temperate climate, even at several thousand feet in the Rift Valley, right? So like 13 is probably feeling pretty like good for the elite athletes in the field, at least the East African elite athletes.
That would be
right now.
perfect for me. I would feel it as like a nice chilly brisk day.
But Katelyn, that's because you train in like 90-degree, 100% humidity in Costa Rica.
Like 20 is when I go out at 4:35 in the morning, 20 Celsius.
This
is up to like 25. So if I go to 13, if Boston's 13 degrees Celsius, that would be amazing.
So this morning we got out of we have joint hotel rooms here.
Yes.
Michael and I get out of our hotel room wearing shorts, getting ready for our 5-degree-Celsius run. And Katelyn comes out
bonkers,
fully decked out in tights and hats and layers and gear.
I know you look like you're about to go like winter camping.
Alex is
She's wearing a Patagonia
those aren't running clothes. I was like, yes, they're not running clothes, but I need to bundle up. It's cold out there.
It is. We're in Boston, and it is windy in Boston.
Yeah, it's very windy. We ran on the water, and that wind was whipping. Let's see if we have. Guys, I really want to give you an update, but we keep getting blacked out here. With
it just looks like everyone's kind of cruising along in groups right now.
We're still in groups. No one has made a move.
Fairly confident that that's Cheptegei in the second group.
Yeah,
that was on the right hand, his right hand side, our left hand side of the screen. Yeah, and it looks like right now, you've got Galeta, you've got of Ethiopia, you've got Benson Kipruto of Kenya. And Baranu Legesse of Ethiopia as well, who's won Tokyo a few years back and has a 2:02 personal best, but he ran it like upwards of 6 years ago.
Yeah,
I think I boldly said that Legesse was done. In our preview pod, I said that he just hasn't produced a result of that magnitude in a while, and that he was not going to be a factor, but he's still hanging around there.
Legesse is like the best marathoner you've never heard of, I think.
yeah.
Because his time was, he didn't even win the race where he ran 2:02. He ran that in Berlin the same year that Kenenisa Bekele almost broke Kipchoge's.
Oh, that's right. When like Bekele, like, I don't know, it was similar to like in Chicago many years ago. Dennis Kimetto, like wasn't paying attention to the clock and missed the world record by like only like a couple of seconds. Like he could have
sprinted to the finish. He
could have sprinted or thrown across the finish.
Was it his world record? His own? I can't remember.
I don't think it was, or was it? Okay. So I'm just going off memory here. I'm not going off research. So.
Yeah, it might have been after,
but it may have been his own world record. But he
still.
Or I want to say it was Wilson
Kipsang.
Kipsang
had a 2:03 low.
Yeah.
And then Kimetto was the first man to go under 2:03 at one point.
Yeah. He an interesting figure in the history of marathon running, like burned hot and fast and had a ton of injuries and never really saw him again.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about like legacy and history here. Like obviously a year ago, the big story was that Eliud Kipchoge was running Tokyo, and the race seemed really teed up for him.
Yeah.
There was a lot of media attention, at least in Japan, and the stream was so very clearly pointed at him in the first. I mean, when he started falling back to like 10th place last year, the broadcast didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And do we follow Kipchoge? Do we stay with the lead pack?
Yeah. Kind of.
Right. Yeah.
And they kind of split the difference and put one camera on the lead pack, and then had one camera kind of drift back with Kipchoge for the longest time, which just must really suck if you're Kipchoge. You're just like
a bit heartbreaking.
Yeah, you're like, okay, there's still a camera on me, and I'm really struggling right now. Similar in Paris, I'm sure it was not a great experience for him either.
Yeah.
But we're now like, and I know the Kipchoge sort of apologists, the Kipchoge stands. Will come at me on this one, but I feel like we're kind of in the
post-Kipchoge era.
I know he's racing in London, and I actually think it's a really great story. I want to write a piece about this, like a think piece or an essay for the site about what a Kipchoge and Bekele showdown over the age of 40 in London means for running. Because for me, as a 44-year-old fan of distance running, I think it's an interesting sort of new frontier in running that you're seeing, particularly these like top level generational East African talents that are sticking with running into their 40s. And it's sort of like, who knows what are these guys just going to keep doing this?
Yeah.
Are they going to go to the trails?
Yeah. No.
Oh boy. Easy there,
Always,
Katelyn.
always
Easy.
going to the
Easy.
trails.
Kennedy and Michael going to go to the trails.
Oh my God, do that as an opinion, please.
Right.
Yeah, no, but that's something that we don't talk about so much. And when we talk about how runners get faster and how we get better over time, it's always about what the world record is, how much we're improving the world record. We don't really talk about how all of our scientific advancements are allowing people to run fast later in life. And that's just that people just age better now for a bunch of reasons. We know more about a lot of things.
Sure.
Right. So maybe that, over time, the peak age changes. And so maybe this is a first indication of that. What if Kipchoge runs how old is Kipchoge? We think? No one knows.
He could be 65. No one knows.
We don't know. Let's give him 40.
He's 40. Let's say 40.
Well, he's 40. He turned 40 in November of last year.
And Bekele's a few years older. I think he's 42 or 43.
Yes. Bekele has the Masters world record he set last year in London.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal for somebody over the age of 40.
Yeah.
And to still run like a serious world-class time.
Could you imagine one of those guys, or maybe even two, go 202, 203?
I would imagine. I have to believe that if both Bekele and Kipchoge are fit and healthy going into London, we will see them. They will definitely have a pacer. They'll have a small group with them, and they will be going after the Masters world record that Bekele set last year. Yeah. Right. So,
are we? Is everyone else down?
Yeah. Can you guys let us know how?
Anyway, what I was going to say, and you guys can fill in the blanks here for me as I hit refresh on the stream.
You keep going. I'll refresh.
What I was going to say with all that, the long-winded wind up with that was, if we're in the post Kipchoge era, where he was really kind of like the LeBron or the Brady or whatever of distance running. Actually, he meant a lot more for distance running, I think, than either of those two athletes did for their respective sport.
Be careful with Brady, please.
Okay, I know we got the Boston girl here. But
I mean, we're in Boston. Let's be respectful.
We're in the equivalent, the sports equivalent of the Vatican right now, Vatican City. No, if we're in the post Kipchoge era, like, what's the best case scenario on the men's side of the marathon? We're talking the men's side of the marathon right now. The women's side of the marathon is fascinating. We can get into that in a bit. On the men's side of the marathon, what's the best case scenario for the post Kipchoge era? Is like who become your stars? I can see like a few runners that could really become special and connect with people in a big way in the next couple of years if things align.
So you're talking personality too.
I'm talking personality, yes.
This is the big next.
Yeah.
This should be entertainment, right? This is sport, and it should be entertainment. We struggle with entertainment in distance running, but it should be entertainment.
So just quick sidebar for those who joined. Some people are asking, where can we watch it? So the stream of the race is on Flow Track. Apparently they're showing the first half of the race, and then after that you have to pay. But
it's worth a subscription if you're hunting around to watch a live feed of a major marathon, and it's not cheap.
No,
but you can subscribe. You can subscribe for the month.
Yeah.
Oh, does it line up? Yeah, you wouldn't get
Boston.
No.
I
don't know if they carry Boston or not.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that's the other thing about streaming. It's somewhat unpredictable, but
yeah,
we still have it up here, and the men just crossed the 10-mile mark in around 46:40.
The third 5K split is slower.
Here it is.
They're slowing down. 14:27.
Well, they picked it up a little.
Yeah, they picked it up at 4:16, and then
you're right.
4:27.
So first 5K, 14:26. Second 5K, so they went through. Second 5K was 14:16.
Yep.
And then that last 5K split from 10K to 15K was
14:26.
14:26.
Yeah.
So
they're about
it's been up and down.
20 seconds off of world record pace, and so
it's pretty good.
That's solid. That's solid. It's like a minute, right? They're still in sub 202 pace, leading in, right? So,
and the course record is 2:02:16 set last year.
Yes. Okay. We also have intel on the
women's race.
15K in 47:06. And so that's about a 15:40 roughly per 5K.
And Kavere still has a 1 minute lead on the second runner.
That's just Kavere out there on her own.
She is
so
trucking
Satume
it.
Kebede, the reigning champion of Tokyo.
And then Tegis Katema is also by herself. She's 30 seconds ahead of Wanjiru and Gebre Selassie in third and fourth. So basically they're running with men. Each of these top 2 women are running in packs of men.
Running with like large groups of men. Yeah.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. 1 and 2, and then after that, it's a legit big group of women from 3 to 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they're all together there.
Yeah.
Really curious to see what happens to Katema and Kebede here. I think in both cases, they'll benefit from having male runners running with them, because otherwise you're just hung out to dry running on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kebede obviously has a plan.
Yes.
I mean, all these athletes have a plan going in. Don't get me wrong.
Kebede has the best plan.
But Kebede has got. Kebede is like, she's all business today.
This
she's
is
going out hard from the top.
Yeah. Sub 2:13 pace still. So for perspective, if Kebede would hold this pace, if she finished under 2:13, she would be the 3rd fastest woman in history, behind, of course, Chepngetich and Tigist Assefa, who's gone 2:11. 2:13, that's no time for a slouch. That's Sifan Hassan's run 2:13.
Right.
So our Olympic champion marathoner.
Yeah.
One of the only ones to go 2:13. So, okay.
We're seeing a little bit of separation here in the men's race, and the first pack of the first group of the men's race. They're 17.5-ish kilometers into the race, and we're getting a break with the pacers are keeping pace. I think they're doing a pretty good job. I mean, they're paid to run a pace, right? These pacers are paid to run 2:01 pace, and so they will run 2:01 pace as long as they have someone running with them. And if they have no one running with them, the idea is that they back off and they stick with the leader.
Okay.
To a certain point. And we're seeing a little bit of a break right now. And the big hitters in the race, so we're talking Benson Kipruto and company, they are getting gapped a little bit. There was a little bit of daylight opening up between the pacers and a couple of guys who have not identified, because our screen just crapped out.
This is a refresh.
But there's a little bit of a gap opening. Now that doesn't mean that the comportment of the race has changed. Doesn't mean that Kipruto, Lagesse, and our other headliners in the race are falling back. It just means that they're kind of backing off a little bit for some reason.
They have
I would say probably like 2-second gap. I can
count
count more than
Could
that.
be a little bit more.
It's an illusion.
We're
it's an
going
illusion
5 seconds.
because
They just
they're-
passed through 18K on our
Right.
That's about
on
5
our
or 6
split.
seconds at
Yeah.
least. So the 52:15 for 18K. It'll be interesting to see what the half marathon split is.
They're just running smart.
Yeah.
The ones that are holding back a little bit. They're
So
just
it's
running
Ota,
smarter.
the Japanese runner, is
Yegon as well.
at the front, and Yegon as well. And
With the 3 pacers.
With the 3 pacers.
Yeah. They're up front.
So you got a breakaway of 2 guys. I don't really wouldn't categorize that a breakaway so much as, for whatever reason, that larger group has backed off.
Like they hung back a little
5
bit.
seconds.
Yeah.
Side note, Yegon might be a pacer. He's dressed like a pacer, but his bib doesn't say pacer. It says Yegon. So
But it's in yellow?
Here. Yeah. Yeah. So he might be pacer. It's only Ota and Galetta, I think, the actual runners of the race in that top 2. And then you have those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runners following 5 seconds.
Look at that. Look at the space, though. They are pulling ahead.
Yeah. I wouldn't put my money on Ota.
No, I think this is all part of the plan.
Yegon is definitely a pacer.
He's a pacer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't put my money on Ota. There's always a runner who's in the front, who takes most of the brunt and then fades away. I don't think he has the pedigree to keep.
I think so. I agree.
I would imagine being Japanese and winning the Tokyo Marathon
be amazing.
Would be a big
Yeah.
deal.
It'd be a big deal.
It'd be a very, very, very big deal.
Also, panning shot of Tokyo. Tokyo's a big city.
Well, yeah. It's a big city.
You guys ever heard of this place, Tokyo?
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we learned in our research for this week's pod that Tokyo doesn't have 2 subway. It doesn't have 1 subway system or
Right.
subway company. It has
2.
2. Yeah. which I didn't realize is a thing that could happen. But
So you
I
need
guess
that
it's a
much
thing.
public transportation.
Yeah, you have like
It's a
2
serious
subway
city.
corporations.
Yeah.
I learned that Tokyo, I thought Tokyo was the most populated city in the world.
Mhm.
Turns out that it's not.
No.
Guangzhou, China,
Yeah.
by a lot.
Yeah.
By a lot.
I mean, China has a number of cities of like 10 million people that
Mhm.
are industrial
Wow.
cities that is like, I've never heard of this place before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
In the
yeah,
country of Costa Rica, we have about 6 million.
total.
6 million total.
Total
In
humans.
Canada, we're up to 40.
There's
40
40
million.
million Canadians.
40
Yes.
million.
Yes.
At
Yes.
10th
Let me
of
see
the
where
United
we are
States.
now for all of those who
Yes.
want to know
Mhm.
Costa Rican.
Okay, this is a good shot, man. We get it like a really nice crisp shot for like 3
Right,
seconds,
and then it kind of blurs out.
cuts.
Yeah. They're calling Kipruto's group the third group
The
now.
third group.
5 million.
Wait, what? Third group.
The third group.
But all the big players, other than Galetta, who's running with absolute leader. I think that's just a
it's
typo,
because
right?
Galetta is. I think it's because
There's one guy there in the middle. They're
Baranu
calling him.
Legesse is in the middle on his own, like
It's
1
like
second ahead.
10
I don't
meters
know.
difference.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't make
Legesse
any
is group
sense.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Legesse is group 2 all by himself. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here we
that's
go.
Baranu
Yeah.
Legesse in the middle there.
Our man in the orange, that's group 2.
Get it.
You've got Ngedich.
Mhm.
You've got Benson Kipruto is right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and they're bridging again. They're
Yeah.
closing up again. We're gonna end up with our nice little triangular shaped pacer group in
Mhm.
front of 3 guys. So if you are trying to follow along on the stream, the 3 guys that have the yellow singlet or the yellow bib rather
Mhm.
are pacers. And then behind them is your elite men racing. And if you're just jumping in on the stream now and you're wondering where the heck is the women's race they have showed very little of.
Yep.
From what we can tell, although the
Mhm.
stream's been super janky
Yeah.
overall. But we can say that Situme Kibete, the reigning defending champion, is out in front by over a minute at this
Mhm.
stage.
Yep.
And is just totally like just running like a boss.
Yeah, and she's
just
on
like completely
2:12 pace,
Yeah.
looking to be the 3rd fastest woman in history if things keep going. So
Yeah.
I
We're
think
approaching halfway, guys.
yes.
Right. So we're getting close to
Getting
20K.
close. Mhm.
It's looking like it's like I'm just eyeballing this
Mhm.
here. We're gonna get
Mhm.
around a like projected finishing time around 2:02.
2:02.
Mhm.
I think they're hitting the half in about 61
Yeah.
on the men's side.
Things heated up last year in the race. So last year in the race, it was in the second half. It was a group of runners, including Benson Kipruto, who ended up winning, and Timothy Kiplagat, who ended up finishing in second. Kipchoge fell off, and then others sort of fell off as well. And then it became a 2-man race between Timothy Kiplagat and Benson Kipruto. Sort of came right down to the wire, but then Kipruto kind of put the screws into Kiplagat and won. But both ran excellent times. Kiplagat's personal best, 2:02 high, was also run at that race. So he did really well to come in second. So, but Kiplagat's not back. He's running London, I believe, Timothy Kiplagat.
I think so. Yeah. So no, because Tokyo is becoming kind of the best. Well, it has been the best secret of fast marathoning. That's slowly not becoming a secret anymore. And we talked about this in our preview podcast. It's kind of more of an us problem than a them problem, but we just know less about Tokyo. And slowly it's becoming seen as like, oh, right, people can rip a 2:02, a 2:15 on this course. And last year was a really good indicator of that.
No, and I think we were also mentioning that Tokyo kind of sneaks up on us, and a lot of us living in, well, you guys in Canada, I mean, you would have to train through the winter.
Oh, God,
like your entire training would be through the winter.
Yeah.
Even tougher than Boston, where you at least get another 6 weeks of
Yeah.
milder weather, but you have to do, December, January, and February, like full training for Tokyo.
For the North Americans, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard, unless you're in the South.
Right. Right.
So, yeah. So we are we're getting near the half. 58 for 20. Okay.
Any tips on finding the live stream? We are watching on FlowTrack for those who are just tuning in. having a little bit of trouble. It's kind of coming in and out, but we're back now.
Yeah, it takes a lot of refreshing, and we've been
Right.
told that FlowTrack is going to cut the stream halfway through, and then you
Mhm.
might have to pay for it. It's free on FlowTrack 4 now. Okay, we got the women's. Okay, that's a 15K split, but that one we saw a while ago that they're
Mhm.
showing on the screen, and that's Kebede right there. So maybe a reason why they're not showing the women's race so much is that the leaders are like drowning in male runners. Like Kebede is running around like, what is it, a group of 12 men. It's
Mhm.
great for her. She's got like this huge pacing squad inadvertently that she could just run with.
Just stuck in the middle there.
And interestingly, okay, so she's got a pacer in there that's gonna kind of like do all the work for her, like, and she's just sticking right behind that pacer, which is good. So she's got one pacer in the yellow bib.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's leading the pack here.
Is
There's like
his
11
name-
other guys, but his name is also Kebede.
Kebede.
Yeah, he's an Ethiopian runner.
Yeah.
And she also interestingly there's a male runner who is in the race. He's not wearing a pacer's bib, who is on full kit as well. So he's also an athlete sponsored by the Swiss brand On, just like she is. So does she have a sort of like
Like
ghost
a training
pacer?
partner?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a training partner in there with her,
which
maybe?
could help her further.
Right.
Yep.
A little bit of a prediction here. If the pacer doesn't stay with her the whole way, I bet you're going to see that guy's going to stick with her as well. So, because otherwise it's a lot of work on her own. But she currently has like 11 or 12 new friends to be running with.
Okay, there she is again.
got a
She's
great
looking
group
super
there.
comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what's on her feet.
Yeah.
Well,
That looks like the Light Strike.
Cloud.
I think. Oh, maybe not.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
The Light Strike LS doesn't usually have that strand of like kind of a darker color, like strand of black on the white shoe.
Yeah.
On has a few new patents on that World Athletics list. One of them being an update of this Cloud Strike LS, and we don't know what it's going to look like.
Interesting.
So that might be it.
Yeah. Fun fact for the nerds here.
Yeah.
If you don't know this already, World Athletics mandates that even if you're using a prototype shoe, you have to divulge the shoe to them, and they need a photograph of it. They need all of the details of it. And they need to inspect it. And they also inspect it after the race as well. And so that list of approved shoes is on World Athletics site. And in some cases you get a photo of the shoe and it's listed as like, on Light Strike LS prototype number, blah, 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 blah. And you get a good look at it, which is kind of interesting. That's why we're able to spy a bunch of the Nike Vaporfly 4 has actually been used since, I believe it was like last November. And correct me if I'm wrong here, and I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I don't wonder, was Connor Mance wearing the Vaporfly 4 in Houston? Because it looked like a variation. I thought it was the Alpha Fly 3. It looked like a variant.
Unsure. I'm not sure. I thought it was an Alpha Fly in just a less conspicuous color, a color that we didn't know as much. But it was hard to tell. Connor Mance ran away from me pretty quickly.
Yes, he did. He run away from me.
He did.
Well, did he wait for you at the finish line?
No, have a photo?
I think he was
Houston?
cooling down. I think he was having a post race.
He was having
apple juice.
He was not having a post race beer. That's for sure. Yeah. Okay, so we've got this lead men's pack here. Got a pretty clear image here about nearing the 22 kilometer mark. They've all bunched back together.
Yep.
Ota of Japan,
still leading.
He's there.
Deresa Galeta, Benson Kipruto, Tekele, Lagese of Ethiopia still hanging tough in there.
Yeah.
Titus Kipruto.
The name Titus.
Titus is a underrated name.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Titus.
get at you as well of Ethiopia. A lot of ASICS representation in this lead pack. Well, the Pacers obviously are wearing ASICS. I think that's the Metaspeed Sky or Metaspeed Edge, right? The stride runners versus the cadence runners, two variations of the same
I
shoe.
think ASIC, because every major marathon has a shoe brand sponsor, right? Like famously, Boston has Adidas as a shoe sponsor.
Yep.
The brand sponsor. Right. They make the coat, they make the jacket, which we'll talk about in a second.
Which we can talk about. Oh, we have
because we're in Boston, so we can talk about. We We've got a question for the
Yes.
audience about the
that'll be fun
Boston
to see what
jacket
people
in 1 second.
comment. Yes.
But to finish my thought here,
Yes.
so Chicago's a Nike race. New York and London are both New Balance races. Berlin is Adidas. I should know this off the top of my head. Is Tokyo an ASICS race? I think it is, which would explain why the Pacers are ASICS athletes although that's not always the case.
No,
the Pacers
ASICS
sometimes
also
are.
just has a big presence in Japan too.
Well, yeah, it's a Japanese brand, right? So So question for our audience here.
Oh, quick 20K shout out here. So Kebede passes 20K in 102.53. Guys, that's blazing fast.
That's really
super
quick.
fast.
She's gonna get there. That's still 2:13 pace, even under.
Yeah, that's.
And if she runs a
under.
negative split,
Oh, that's a heck of a. Just think, she's gonna hit the half in about 66, a little over 66.
Yeah,
That's
God,
wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
So question
we have
for
a
our
question.
audience. So Katelyn, Alex, and I are out running this morning in Boston.
Blistering wind.
Blistering wind. It is March
1st.
1st? It is March 1st.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the year of our Lord 2025.
Mm-hmm.
The Boston Marathon takes place April, you should know this.
21st, President's Day.
April 21st and Patriots Day.
Patriots Day. Sorry.
Caitlin.
Sorry.
They're going to take away your Boston residency.
You're going to take away my ID.
Yes.
Citizenship.
So April 21st. So we're 6 weeks away from the Boston Marathon.
Right.
What did we see when we're finishing our run this morning in Boston? We saw a dude out for a run in the 2025 Boston Marathon jacket.
What do you guys think about this? Bad luck?
I gasped.
Yes. Yeah. I felt like that would have been bad luck. And I'm not a superstitious person, but I do not want to put on that jacket until I cross the finish line.
The race is 6 weeks away. You haven't even run it yet.
How did he get that?
So many things could happen. You could get hit by lightning.
Oh my goodness. Don't say that.
The running gods could punish you for wearing that.
Speaking about superstition, knocking on wood, no one gets hit by lightning.
You can't see this on my hand, maybe, but it's a university ring, like an undergraduate varsity ring that we actually are given at our school a semester before graduating.
Okay.
Because like a certain amount of credits that you need.
Okay.
A friend of mine got this ring and he wasn't sure if he was going to graduate. I think he needed to take an extra course, but he was like, you know what, relax. I got this. I'm going to wear the ring. I'm going to take it. And so he got the ring and he wore the ring around and he never graduated.
Oh no.
He never graduated.
You see, you have to wait. You have to wait.
Yeah.
And fulfill whatever you need to fulfill.
I feel really, I mean, I've only DNF'd one race in my life, and that was the was the Hong Kong UTMB event, Translanto UTMB.
Yeah, and how did that go?
Event. I don't want to talk about. We talked about it today in the when we did our live pod.
It's traumatic.
A little traumatic.
We don't want to go back.
It involves
to
a lot of vomit. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But that's the only DNF I think I've ever had, maybe. And I don't have a shirt from there actually.
Or the medal.
No. Well, I didn't take a medal because I didn't finish.
That's right.
And I don't have a shirt because I was running as media. I think they actually did give me a shirt, but I don't know where I put it. I feel really bad. But I would have liked to have had it. I would feel weird wearing it because I didn't finish the race, right?
Yeah.
And so we see this guy running along in the Boston Marathon. It used to be called the finisher's jacket. Now it's called the celebration jacket. So I guess he's out celebrating on March 1st. But like, I just feel like that's like bad juju to be wearing the Boston Marathon jacket like 6 weeks before the race.
Or something. Ota is back, guys.
Yeah,
he's fallen back.
Okay,
he fell off. He fell off the group. Just for everyone who's been the leader for the first 21K has now fallen back.
All these guys should shake his hand. Took a lot of that lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the first half of the race, he was going strong, but he has now retired to behind the first pack.
Well, we're nearly 24 kilometers into this race, and I think like it's getting real.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
I can't stop looking at the comments. There's a whole lot of people who are in it watching this. Apparently this guy named Jake, who's like, he's doing something. He's running with the lead women and everyone is cheering for Jake because I guess there's this run to Tokyo thing. Someone should tell us what this is because it looks like a lot of people are invested in this Jake.
Jake, again, underappreciated name.
Jake?
Titus, Jake.
I know so many Jakes.
You know a lot of Jakes?
A lot of Jakes.
I feel like, okay, I got a 6-year-old and I feel like there's a heckload of like Braden, Caden, Braxton, Barkley, Berkeley, Hudson. Like there's a lot of that.
Yeah, these
There's
are
a lot
all
of that vibe.
yeah, it's like all the types of boots and sneakers,
Boots, sneakers, and hockey player names.
Vans,
Yeah, exactly.
Chino.
Jake, I like Jake. Jake's a good one.
Jake has never gone out of style.
Yeah,
No,
I
Jake's
also
been good.
like.
You know who
Jake's
I
fun.
don't see a lot of on the playground? Not a lot of 6-year-olds named Dave.
Dave?
Not a
No.
lot of
Well, in
6-year-olds
my
named
generation, there
Bob,
were a whole lot of
Roger,
Daves.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Michaels anymore.
No
either.
Michaels
Some
anymore.
Alex is still in there. Alex is
But
like a Jake.
But they're all women.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Alex, yeah.
It's a
No,
nice.
we met an Alex today on the Boston
Yeah,
Running
he
show
was a-
floor, and
yeah,
I
he
was a
was
young
huge.
guy.
Yeah, he was a young
This
man.
is what the people come to the live stream for.
Yeah,
This
Yeah,
is the
sorry,
content.
we're
Name.
getting off topic, but
Name.
nothing has changed. We still have the front pack,
Yeah,
and it has fallen behind.
men's.
Still the
Hey,
same.
let's talk about Jake.
Oh, boy.
Jake apparently has a YouTube channel called Run to Japan and talks a lot about
Yeah.
Japanese culture, running
cool.
culture blowing up.
Oh,
And he's on 2:12 pace.
Jeez,
But we
go
all know
Jake.
Jake for his negative splits, says someone.
There we
okay,
go.
nice.
Attaboy. You know
Go
me, I
Jake.
like a
Okay,
good negative
okay, let's go.
split. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so like,
Go Jake.
Yeah, let's
I'll
go,
put this out
Jake.
here right now. We'll do something on Jake in the future. We got to talk to Jake. I
We
want to
gotta
know
talk
more.
to Jake, man.
2:12 marathon runner who is like deep in the weeds on Japanese running culture.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Sounds
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. Okay, go Jake.
Go Jake. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of neat that like 2:12 it just puts you right in there with the lead group,
Yep.
right? So
Well,
with the
he's
lead woman.
probably running somewhere near Kebede right now.
Mhm.
I would imagine so. He's probably
Yeah.
running with her.
Oh, look at these
Yeah.
runners. Who's
That's
saying
brutal
that
going
hairpin
around the
turns
U-
are hard? You
Yeah,
can
those
tell
turns
that
are
they're really
hard.
You watch
laboring
the
around
the
turns.
hairpin turns here. There's a few of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
this guy on his
And it's
own.
just you run these
Yeah.
really long straight boulevards in Tokyo,
Yeah.
and then you do a full 180 around a post and have to crank it back up again.
Yeah, that
And
doesn't
it's-
look easy. So is this the second or
This is the second
the
group we're
second group?
seeing
Let's
now,
see
which
if
is
we
a
can
pretty
find my
big
guy
pack,
in there.
or maybe this might be the third group.
Isn't it-
Actually,
Yeah, I don't.
This is
that,
the
I
third
wouldn't
group.
No, I think this is further back.
The third
yeah.
group because there's a good Japanese contingent of Japanese men that are
Yeah.
sort of pacing out close to the national record in Japan,
Mhm.
which is 2:04:50.
Yeah, I think they're
6,
fighting
yeah.
for that this year. They have a few runners fighting for that record.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean that's like they got depth, they've got talent. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Japan, like Jake knows.
Jake knows, man.
Japan is a
I mean,
Japan
it
is
used
a
to be-
cool running country,
It used to
man.
be
Yeah.
move to Kenya and immerse yourself in.
No,
in-
man, go to
yeah,
Japan.
Go to Japan now.
Yeah.
I'm not the
Yes.
only one looking for Cheptegei split. I want to know too.
Oh,
we
boy.
haven't
We're
seen
working
them.
on it.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Man,
Yeah,
these
these
hairpin
hairpin-
turns are awful. Like these guys are just hurting going around. It kills momentum so much.
Oh, you
Yeah,
have to run that tangent.
especially this deep into a marathon.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
you start crossing over the halfway mark, you're starting to build up, a little damage in your legs. You're starting to feel it a bit. I mean, you should, as an elite athlete up at the front, as long as if you're going to win this race, you should still be feeling quite good.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the 180 hairpin turns are just brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Benson Capruto
Yeah.
running at just a perfect place,
Mhm.
middle of that pack.
He has never
He's tucked in there.
Isn't
he has
lit.
never led the race. He's
No.
never been
No.
out front because you don't need to lead the race in a
No,
marathon.
he's running
No.
super
Till the end.
smart.
No, and
It's all strategy.
yeah, and I mean the Pacers are there, right? And they're doing a good job.
Yep.
Gettage and
We have two. It looks like there's only two Pacers now in the men lead in the
Someone
lead
dropped
men's
off.
group.
Yeah. we're getting
Right,
near
'cause-
25K.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting up
Mhm.
there. Yeah. So the Pacers would be paid. They'd be paid to run to at least halfway.
Okay.
Like you may not get paid if you ain't running halfway. Like that's the deal, right? And then there'll be an expectation that they'll run either between 25 or either to 25 or to 30.
Or 30.
Typically on the men's side, they don't hang in there much after 30. It's been a bit of a different story on the women's side of the marathon in recent years. The big breakthrough with Ruth Jepten-Getich that really kind of bodes well for her is for the argument that she's clean and that her performance is just that no one had ever put all the factors together like she did.
Right.
Is that she had pacers. She had two pacers who
Right.
were her training partners, who were like basically standing in, like not standing, but running in front of her, blocking any sort of wind resistance and maintaining a perfect pace for her all the way,
All the
literally
way.
to the finishing chute.
See, that's something
So-
that these guys aren't going to get.
No,
right. So
'cause-
the elite
Because the
men-
pacer
'cause
would
they-
then win the race.
Yeah, they would then
Yeah.
break the record on their own.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat of an advantage. for the female runners, right? For the women's runners to be able to have those pacers and have them until the absolute end. I mean, I think he just broke off for her to break the tape on her own.
Yes.
Like, I mean, he just
basically
literally
they're like,
stepped
"Move
back
out of the
right
way."
before for the photo, and then he went through right
The
after.
last time I can remember there being a situation where a male pacer with a male lead runner was still in the race at the end was like, we're going way back. This is Jeffrey Mutai, and I think it was Jeffrey Kamworor pacing him in Berlin in 2010, I think.
That would have been around the time. It
Yeah.
would have been around the time.
And there was this weird thing that happened where, like, I remember because I was covering it and I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
I think it was Kamworor who was the pacer. He was really young at the time, and one of his first big pacing gigs. And then Mutai, who is the top runner in the world at the time.
Yeah.
And like Kamworor kind of just slowed down and let him go in and win the race, but was there right until the finishing.
Wow.
And I think
Mhm.
if I could check this, but I think he finished second overall in the race. I think he actually crossed the finish line.
Wow.
Got a place, because pacers don't typically get a place. They just drop off and step off the course before the finish, right? So yeah.
Quick snapshot here: 25K and Getich leading, Legesse, Tekele, Benson
But they're all
Caputo,
together, yeah.
Titus Caputo, Gilletta. Yeah, that's your lead.
Yeah,
you
top
guys.
6. We got 6 in the front pack.
6 athletes in the front,
Yep.
2 pacers in front of them, still doing quite a bit of good work here. You got Caputo sort of like 2 or 3 deep back, just sitting back there. He's the reigning champion, the 202 guy, the course record.
I've got Cheptegei, 13. He's 54 seconds, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, he's 54 seconds behind the lead pack. So he's
That's-
got to be in that second pack.
That's better than where he was, right?
Yeah.
So if you're watching the stream on FlowTrack and you see at any point the second group of elite men running, look for a guy who's sort of tall and lean in a white and orange singlet. That'll be Joshua Cheptegei. He was hanging on the his right hand side, our left hand side, if we're looking at the screen, for quite a while beforehand. And that's not a bad situation for him to be in if he can hang in there, because that's what he's how far back did you say he was?
54 seconds.
He's 54. So that's 2 minutes on top at finishing time if he continues to run evenly. That's 2 minutes behind
the top guy.
Little update. Thank you, Jack Davey, for this. Not a good update. So Segai Gerachu, so one of the top contenders of the race, Ethiopian runner, apparently pulled up and dropped out just around 25K. So
that stinks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's one big gun out right there.
Yeah, I mean, marathoning stuff.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
top
really
6,
tough.
Top 6. I was looking at the shoes. I was looking at the athletes. We're in a brand war. So Nike's got 3 athletes in these top 6, Adidas 2, and then Asics just the 1. So
Asics has got an athlete in there.
Yep.
I will say this: Asics quietly did not do sponsoring East African athletes really on a big level until just a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now they've got a couple of really, really talented runners in their roster that they're sponsoring that are running at the front, like John Career, who won Chicago in the fall.
Yeah.
Asics athlete, and had a big breakthrough in Chicago, winning that race and running a really good time.
I have a theory about this as to why.
What's your theory?
I have no idea, but my theory is these athletes didn't want any brand other than Nike and Adidas for the longest time because they had a stranglehold on shoes. They had the best shoes. Now Asics has joined. Like the Meta Speed series, in my opinion, is every bit as good as the Alpha Fly. And now, well, you could have I'm sure every brand wants to get a stranglehold on East Africa, and they have, of course, marathon champions, right? But why would you go for a brand that's not Nike or Adidas if the other shoes are not as good? So I think it's finally East Africa just saying yes, okay. Okay. Now we needed a refresh. So we are okay. Finally, this is excellent. Okay, a shot of Kebede as she gets real close to 25K. She's going to hit 25K in just under 119. So this math's getting harder, guys.
Okay.
Here we go. But this is good. I can't wait to see the 5K splits here.
The Vaporfly 3s are amazing. So I just got reading a comment here. That's what I'm using for Boston.
And
yeah.
Susume Kipede, when she won Tokyo last year, she was wearing Vaporfly.
She's wearing
Yeah.
Vaporflies. Yeah.
She's now wearing
I love
On.
them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know what the contract is with On. I'd love more transparency with what these athletes are getting paid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is she getting paid? I'm presuming she's getting paid a 6-figure salary of some magnitude.
Probably. Because it's
plus a
On,
lot
like,
of probably performance incentives. I know Nike, I've from years of interviewing and talking to athletes on and off the record, elite athletes, Olympians, and so on and so forth, all around the world, East African athletes, North American athletes, European athletes. I have a very clear idea of how Nike's contract structure works. It's very performance oriented.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The base salary you're getting from Nike is extremely low.
Mhm.
You would be shocked at how low. Like best track runners training in the United States making like minimum wage with performance kickers being everything in their salary.
Right.
As
That's
an
stressful.
example.
That's
That
is very stressful. I mean, you're making money if you're winning races, if you're getting podiums, if you're getting times.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
extremely stressful.
And I mean, athletes have spoken out about that, not just marathoners.
Sure.
Nick Simmons, Allison Felix.
Yeah.
We've talked about their contracts being very, very tough if you're having an off year, especially if you're getting injured. So, and also it would have been a huge pitch for On to make because they really needed to prove that they had a better product
Mm-hmm.
than
And
Nike.
she was dealing from a really strong position as an athlete because she had just set the American soil, the Kibete. She had just set the American soil record in the half marathon
Right.
in Houston.
Mhm.
She won the Tokyo Marathon, so she won a major,
Yeah.
which is a big deal. Opens a lot of doors for you, gets you invited to pretty much any other major you want to do.
Mhm.
And presumably her agent is dealing from a really strong position to get her that deal with On. And it's cool. I think it's really cool that brands like ASICS and On are investing in global athletes and top flight A-lister elite marathon runners. Love to see Saucony doing that. Would love to see New Balance doing that.
Mhm.
They don't do that right now.
Well, not much. But again, they need to prove that they have a competing product, and I don't think they do. Right
Yeah,
now.
they're just doing. I mean, they could argue Puma's doing that. Puma is competing at the top level.
Yep, they are. They are.
And kudos to them for doing that.
Yeah.
They were like kind of all but out of the distance running game for a long time.
Mhm.
And then they were like kind of riding on like Usain Bolt
Yeah,
as their like everything
He was still
for a
their
long
guy.
time.
Yeah.
And your girl from the 100 meters, your dark horse. She was amazing.
Oh, Alfred?
Alfred.
Julian Alfred.
Yeah.
Julian
Alfred,
Alfred.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Julian
We
Alfred's
We
a
all
Puma
blanked.
girl.
Yeah,
We all
we all
blanked
blanked
on the Olympic champion for a second.
We're
there,
so
yikes.
far away from the
We
100
have
meters.
been,
Yeah.
we have been just so marathon focused these days that I just completely blanked. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's Puma as well. So we thought of Puma.
Yeah, but in the
Sure.
distance running circuit,
Mhm.
yeah, at some point it was just like, whoa, we got a couple podium finishers with Puma. I
With
thought of Boston last year with the Boston Marathon, the press conference afterwards, and you have Helen O'Beary, gold on.
Mhm.
Second place, Sharon Lokedi wearing Under Armour.
Yeah.
Under Armour.
And third place, Edna
Wow.
Kiplagat. 41-year-old Edna Kiplagat wearing Puma.
That's amazing.
That was a moment for
no
me. I was
Nike,
like,
no Adidas.
no, on the men's side it was Nike
Right.
Adidas, but that was a moment for me. I'm like, you know what? This is not just the Nike Adidas show. And I think this is what's happening in East Africa. You're starting to see other sponsorships. But again, that's a great way of showing which companies have competing product. And I think Puma might.
Mm-hmm.
I do love their racing shoe.
Their elite shoe, their super shoe is decent.
Is good.
It's decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right on that one though. And this is like, maybe these brands not like us talking in this manner about their products, but like I think when you look at obviously Nike and Adidas, they're producing world beating products.
Yep.
It's as evidenced by world records and winning majors and setting course records at major marathons.
Mhm.
That is in part because they are sponsoring the greatest athletes,
Mhm.
but it's also because they're presumably making the greatest product.
Yeah.
It's hard to parse those things out, but you could make that correlation.
Yeah. Yeah. And
then you look at ASICS, you look at Puma, you look at On,
Mhm.
and they're making podiums.
making
Mhm.
podiums.
And they have
Yep.
they have competitive athletes. So
Yep.
the inference there is they're making a world-class product.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at Saucony, Brooks, and New Balance.
Hoka, by the way.
And Hoka.
Yeah.
And they're not making podiums.
No.
With their super shoes.
With their super shoes. No.
Although I will say this, I've been testing the Saucony the Elite,
Endorphin
the
Elite.
Endorphin Elite.
Yeah.
The newest version of their super shoe. It's good.
Yeah.
It feels really good. It's fast. I've done a bunch of workouts in it. It's very fast. So that could be just a scenario where they just don't have the right athletes in place, or they're just approaching things in a different way. Like it's effectively all a marketing budget, right?
Yes.
Elite athletes are part of a marketing budget.
Yeah.
So
So there's a lot of ways of getting ahead in the shoe world, and Hoka's found a lot of different ways. But okay, back to the race here, because our stream stopped buffering for a second. So we're having a bit of a break, and I'm a little confused because it looks like it's the pacer who's picked things up, or maybe it's just everyone is dropping back.
He's got some like wild.
The pacer's
arms.
like hammering. The lone pacer's left in the race is just giving her right now.
He's running like an 800-meter run, like full on stride. So I think he's the one who's picked it up.
I was curious about that. Arms swinging.
The lead men's group is stringing out now, so we're seeing a bit of separation. We're coming up towards 30K. It's a little over 29K right now. So like, it's getting real right now. Galetta is kind of hanging in there. Legesse's on his own in between, I'd say about like 2 or 3 seconds back from Galetta. And then you got Kipruto, who's I think trying to make
back.
Who's fallen back a little bit. And I think he's realizing it's go time. And he's trying to get back into this. And he's having to work a little bit more than he wants to be working right now. And so we could be seeing the big break in the race right now because they're all stringing out. It's kind of single file right now.
Yeah.
A single file.
So we're 29.5 kilometers into the race.
Yep.
So we're coming up on we're at 19 miles coming up on that.
It's go time.
Yeah.
12K to go.
Yeah. So the race is getting quite interesting. I think on the women's side, I don't want to say fait accompli, but like fait accompli, but like Kibede is way ahead.
Yeah, it's her race.
She's kind of on her own for the moment. So I think that's also another reason why we're not getting that much feed on the women's side.
So we're getting Vincent Ngedic making the big break here.
Yeah. Or just following the pacer.
The pacer who's
following the pacer who's making the big break.
He is really hammering it out.
I think they told the pacer, you got to make it to 30K in under 127.
In the 201.
And he's like, oh man, well, you know what? These guys do get paid to deliver a certain performance, and it could just be like he
realized
I need to get them in 30K at this time, and he's like, we got to make hay here, guys.
If he drops exactly at 30K, we'll know that
was
he's like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Benson Kiproto's back there going like, what the hell are you doing, man? Why are we doing like a
you're trying to burn me out?
Yeah, like a 240 kilometer here.
So it might be a false break. We're getting right close to 30K.
No, this is like this is pretty legit. Look, Kiproto's way back now. Kipruto, they're single files, 4 men in single file with the pacer at the front. So it's three guys and a pacer.
Watch.
Then you've got
$2 he drops.
Let's see.
I think he's dropping.
It looks like he's veering off.
You got Legesse, who's Alex, you
called it. You see, he just
so the pacer,
30K.
That's it. That's
it. Pacer delivered them at 30K in 127.22.
He sprinted the last 2 minutes.
He sprinted.
Was it like 127 under 127.30 or under, or you don't get paid? And he's just like,
that's it.
Oh my god, I gotta hurry up here.
So I don't know if it's a break. I think he picked it up. I think Ngedic was like, okay, I'm going to stick on him.
Yeah.
And Kipruto making more of the veteran move, saying, no, this is not the time we pick it up.
I don't know about that, man. I think I think that was a giant, look, that's a giant amount of separation. Look, Kipruto's done,
he's
dude.
back.
He's done. He's got his drink.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe he's not done. That's not, it's a little too early to be saying that. But like, as you noted before, like, I don't know if it's just the light kind of like, what is that? Is that a violet color? That would you just categorize it as violet?
Like purple, violet.
Purple. The purple. I was trying to get.
You were trying to be a little more specific.
I was trying to be a little more poetic
a little
with
more
it.
poetic with it. Yeah,
But
it's a purple singlet.
A purple singlet
Guys,
that
it's
Kipruto was wearing was like
obviously
drenched.
lilac.
It's lilac.
so
Thank you. That's what
lilac,
it was.
Alex. Thank you.
Amateurs.
Yes.
It's a lilac
A
singlet.
lilac colored
Love that.
singlet that Kipruto was wearing like really shows where the
sweat.
sweat is and where
Yeah.
it isn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's like weirdly drenched in sweat from like mid chest down, like
Yeah.
top straps.
It's got to be warm. It has to be warm because
Well,
it
said
was-
a
start
lot of
temp
people are.
was 13,
13, but
to
now it's
16.
an hour and a half later now,
Mhm.
right?
So it's 15 or 16 degrees. in
That's
Tokyo
that's
right now.
hot.
Yeah, it's getting warmer.
Celsius, of course.
Yeah.
If it was 15 or 16 degrees Fahrenheit, they'd all be wearing winter jackets.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
that's us. That's us tomorrow
That's
for our
us-
long run in the morning in Boston.
So guys, we're gonna go tomorrow, and we're gonna go run the Newton Hills as part of our long run tomorrow.
Yes.
We're running Katelyn in we're gonna do the last what?
9 miles.
Yeah.
Right? Because I
9
think we're
miles of the race.
17 miles at the fire station.
At the fire station.
Yeah.
So Katelyn grew up right by the fire station.
Yep.
She's running Boston. Really, for the first time, you did run Boston as a teenager,
Yes.
but you were not a self-described runner
No,
when you
I
were
was
at
not.
that age. No.
One of those things you just kind of do as a young.
You ran for
crazy
You ran
kid.
as a charity runner,
Yes.
and so you're coming back running Boston for the first time as
As a runner.
as a real runner.
That's awesome, man.
I mean, you were a real runner back then too. You just didn't know it.
Exactly. But I just did it in a way that I just, not training for it properly. That's why I like to
you just
say
suffered through it.
I suffered. I suffered the entire time. So
So we're gonna go do the Newton Hills tomorrow.
Silverfire asks, "What are y'all's race times?"
Good question.
Oh boy.
Okay, well, let's start with Katelyn because we're talking about Katelyn. You're going for a marathon.
Yeah. Okay. No, but my current marathon time, I did just PR my marathon last year. I was really excited. 3:12 is my marathon. I am the slowest of the group. But my previous one was 3:20. So I was psyched because I did an 8-minute slash there.
And you're more of an ultra runner,
Yeah,
right?
I'm an ultra runner.
You run seriously
Yes.
in the ultra world.
Yep.
You finished top 10 at the UTMB race in California last year.
Yeah, that was exciting.
9th?
Yeah, at Kodiak. Yeah, that was great. So I'm more of the long distance ultra trail kind of runner.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to put a time on it because you can't really say it's not like the marathon where you're at the 10K or the 5K where you have a time. But that would be my marathon time. And I am really trying to shave that down. So one day I would like to get my sub 3. So we'll see.
You're aiming to get sub 3.
I'm thinking, I mean, I want to break the 3:12. I'm more around a 3:05 in Boston because of what everyone has said to me. That's not the race.
It's a serious course.
It's a serious course. It's not the race to go trying to shoot for that time.
Yeah.
Oh, we have the first.
Catherine de Bruyne won the women's wheelchair race just now.
She's from Switzerland, correct?
Switzerland.
Yep, Switzerland.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we'll go in descending order.
Michael, you're up next.
I've been running for a long time, and my PRPB, Canadians we say PB, is 2:38.
Amazing.
So pre super shoe. So I get my 4% discount?
Yeah.
It's like
Let's take that off.
a senior citizen discount on Tuesdays at the drugstore.
Let's do it. Let's take your 4%. What it would be.
It's like I ran my PB in 2013. Can I get my 4% off?
It's like inflation, man.
Yeah.
It's like reverse inflation.
Although I think I'm most proud of, I ran 2:41, I think it was in 2022 at Chicago as a 42-year-old, and
awesome.
that was pretty good.
That's amazing.
I've run in the 240s more times than I can count, and sort of stuck in that early to mid 240s range. And then Mr. Sear.
Let's talk about our
Mr.
superstar.
Sear legitimizes
superstar.
our clown show here.
Well, but before then, just note 3 men.
Oh right, the Tokyo Marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
So Ngetic, Takele, and Galeta have broken away. So and Ngetic is still leading at 32K.
Yeah,
Ngetic looks good.
Yeah, he does look really good.
I like Takele too because he's running like Benson Kipruto was running, just very understated. Hasn't really led much of it. Looks like he's running smart, but Ngetic looks very, very.
And we're right up at 32K, so we're right at 20 miles right now.
Yeah,
and that like the classic kind of like the old adage in distance running and marathon running is that the marathon starts at 20 miles, right? So
where we're at here,
pretty good.
They are
14:27 split for this 5K.
Yeah, they're still on like inside
201
of
and a half.
201 and a half.
Well, they're 12 seconds over what their goal pace was. It's saying.
But 12 seconds per.
Oh, plus 5K. You're right. It's 203.
Yeah.
203.
Yeah.
So there's a 14:27 split between 25 and 30K.
I'd say they're on 202 mid to 203 pace right now.
Yeah.
Just like really quick maths here. If someone's like doing a pace calculator, let us know.
Oh yeah, let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. So times. Okay. So I've yet to run my first marathon. That's probably gonna happen.
So you're not even a sub 4 hour marathon runner.
I'm not a sub anything.
No, you're not a sub anything.
Yeah. I started dabbling in the half marathon last year. So I have a
dabbling. I love that. I wish I could say that time. I was dabbling.
I don't really train. I just like go to races.
Oh,
you're just all vibes.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's vibes.
You just go in positive vibes.
Just believe.
Yeah.
You can do it. You know. No, I used to be a miler in college. I did that for a few years. Got injured for a lot during my 20s. I'm 29 now. Focused on the 5 and the 10K for a while. My 5K is 14:26. My 10K is 30:25, which I really want to beat this year, and I think I have. Same for the 5K. But lately, the big project's been the half marathon, and my best time is from Houston this year. So 65:04 is my best. Wanted that sub.
So you're like properly sub elite,
right?
Probably.
So Joshua Cheptegei here, looking pretty good.
He looks so good.
He's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean,
bouncy.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, like the guy is like, he's like this is gonna feel really slow for him until it feels really awful.
Yeah.
Right.
They just went through 20 miles. This group, I would say this is the sort of chase pack at this point.
Are they still a minute behind?
Although I don't know yet.
Yeah.
The lead pack has strung out, so there is the lead pack's blown up. So we now have a chase pack that actually is a nice little formidable group.
Yep.
Akasaki of Japan, who ran really well in Paris, if you guys remember, in the Olympic marathon. He was kind of right in there with the lead guys right up until like, just going off the top of my head here, he was right up there until like 30 something kilometers. He's in this group. So there's the second group that Cheptegei's in, is a group of, let's say 5 with a straggler Japanese runner falling off the back, right? And Cheptegei looks good.
Yeah.
He looks good. I mean, he's just such perfect track form, elegant runner.
Yes. Yeah.
Bouncy.
Yeah.
Not wasting
he looks
any
great.
energy.
Yeah.
Looks great.
The good question is like, what would be considered a success for Joshua Cheptegei today? Like,
that's a good question. I was thinking the same thing.
Are we saying like a 20? You know, he's probably going to go 204 or 205.
I would say an even-ish split, not a big positive split in the 205 range would be a very, very good day at the office.
Yeah. Well, it's a step, right?
Yeah.
It's a step up. So
yeah.
Oh, I think we're gonna get a look at the women's race.
Okay.
So the women's race, I mean, it still should be Situme Kebede way out in front, leading everyone else.
Here we are. Okay.
This is the men's. The men's league group is still a group of 3. Ingedich is currently at the front, if I'm not mistaken, right? And they're way clear of this.
They're on
the remaining runners, including our pre-race picks and the favorite going into the race, the reigning champion, Vincent Kipruto, seems to be done. He's out of the race. He's not out of the race, but he's not within. You can't see him.
No.
Yeah, we can't see him. He's not in striking distance.
Galeta, that's going to be your podium. So is the gold going to go to Kenya or Ethiopia is the question. If one Kenyan athlete, 2 Ethiopians.
Gedich just looked really good.
He looked really strong. He looks really strong.
Yeah.
I'm going off the top of my head here, but Gedich, he win Rotterdam last year?
Oh,
look that up.
Let's verify that.
Got it here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. 3rd at the 2023 Berlin. Okay. Yeah, right. Bronze in Berlin 2023. And he was 3rd last year in Tokyo, too. So he knows the course.
Yeah.
He's just usually been overshadowed by Mr. Kipruto. Berhanu Legesse of Ethiopia running in 4th. Nike athlete. He looks like he's struggling.
And Tedesse Tekele, who has sort of been tucked in there in sort of secondish place. He's in that lead group of 3 runners that we haven't really talked about at all.
No.
Is an intriguing character. He's run 2:03.24. And he did it in Berlin in 2023. So it's been a while. But obviously a very capable character in the 2:03 range, right? Be a pretty big breakthrough for him if he won today. He'd be a little bit of he's not a newcomer to the marathon by any means, but it'd be a nice breakthrough for him.
So is it fair to say that any of these 3 athletes is about to have their first massive victory, unless I'm missing something?
No, you'd be right on that one.
Right?
I mean, winning a major is a very big deal. So winning a major will mean that if your agent wants to get you into London next year, 2026 for a hot race, they can probably get you in. You're certainly going to get invited back to the major that you won as a reigning champion. You're probably going to get, I mean, in the case of Bridget Kosgei, who won here in Tokyo a few years ago, she dropped out of the race today, but like she hasn't run terribly well in the last few years.
No.
But she's going to get an invite to Tokyo because she's a past champion, right? So, and I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it depends on the race director, depends on the elite coordinator, depends on the money involved, depends on the agent. But I would imagine that there's a fairly long, wide open window for a past champion to come back, because there's sort of a narrative that you can shape around that as a race, right? You're like, we've got the last 5 winners in the race today.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not that person actually delivers in the end is a different story. But
it's in a weird way, it's a similar principle to like the whole influencing stuff. You get a bunch of influencers to go to your race and to promote it. It's like getting a past champion with the added benefit that, oh, also they might drop a 2:13 and destroy everybody.
Possibly, yeah. Which is kind of what we're seeing today with the reigning champion on the women's side, right? So, yeah, all signs point to like, okay, Cheptegei still running fairly well.
He's looking at his watch a lot.
Yeah, he really is.
Like,
I've seen that.
Well, because he's probably one of those
well.
like, I mean, Joshua Cheptegei is like he's 100 minutes into his run. This is a man who's run 26 something in the 10K.
Yeah.
He is somebody who is just like, this is just a
This is just too
long
long
time to be running.
Completely.
He's almost 35K into his run, and he's probably just like, will this end? Will this
when
end?
is this over?
Or maybe it's a positive thing. And we've all done this when we've been having a good race where you're checking your watch and you're like, I'm already at 35K. Feel pretty good. Like, should I push? You know? My answer to him would be yes, push. But
you know, last weekend when I ran a trail race, a 15K trail race, and I'm an ultra runner. It was incredible. I'm like, I could get into this.
Yeah.
It was over in an hour and change. I was like, this is amazing.
Didn't even break a sweat.
Yeah, not even.
I was like, this is incredible. I can push the whole race. And I'm not it was very fun. It was very fun. So I was doing the opposite as Cheptegei is doing, checking his race like, God, when is this going to end?
The 3 men's leaders right now all look great.
Yeah.
They all look very comfortable. The stride looks good, very economic.
Oh, I hope it's a sprint finish.
They're floating along.
I would love it.
We're hitting 35K here.
Yeah.
They're grabbing their bottles at 35 here.
Yep.
142.13 through 35K. So we have 7 kilometers to go. You know what? We're still around that. I think it's going to be over 2:03. I don't think they're going to go under 2:03.
I mean, they're all conspicuously taking their bottles. I mean, that's been the trend in the last 5 or 7 years, is that elite athletes have been really, really focused on making sure they're taking the nutrition all the way up. Like, you'll see guys taking bottles at like 38, 40K.
Oh, really? For the kick.
Yeah. Just to get that steady stream of both hydration and of carbs in, right? It's part of their plan. And you're seeing a little bit of a break here in that B group. And you've got I think that's Kissa, who is a member of the NN running team, which is sort of this loose pro group that is flagged in the Netherlands, but like a shipping company, they are located all around the world.
And like this Sapporo beer that's
made in Virginia, but is
Cheers.
So, you know, like NN Running is tied in with Nike, famously kind of like built around Kipchoge, right?
Right.
A large group of really top level men and women in distance running, predominantly the marathon. And Joshua Cheptegei has been a member of the NN Running team for a while. And they do really interesting things, right? Yeah. They're deeply involved in the Ineos 159 challenge that Kipchoge did to break 2 hours in the marathon in 2019. During COVID, do you remember Cheptegei when he set one of his world records on the 5? It was a 5,000 meters. They set up this event.
Yeah. It was awesome.
And yeah, it was like
also the 10. I think both were
Gide, who's also on the NN Running team, she ran a world record there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. It was all part of the COVID blur. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, they do neat stuff, you know. They do some like advertorial documentary stuff around their athletes, you know. I think they've been pretty instrumental in like kind of bringing in this sort of fulsome picture of like top level marathon innovations. Also, like, you know, getting Morton deeply involved, the hydration nutrition brand, deeply involved in what their pro athletes are doing and that sort of thing. And they just have like it's Global Sports, the agency in the Netherlands that reps all of these athletes, have sort of like turned it into a team. It's beyond just like,
that's what I was going to say. It's like that community, that team.
Yeah. I'd love to see more of that. Yeah. I'd love to see a few other of these groups formulating. And wouldn't it be neat if there was like a team element to distance running where like they were competing against each other, and one team was Nike, one team was Adidas, and
kind of like what you see in cycling, right?
Yeah,
it's team on team.
Yeah, I mean, we're deep into the marathon here, and we're just sort of waiting to see when there's going to be the break between these three top male runners, and then obviously Kibete's kind of on her own.
I'm a little bummed out we haven't seen any footage from the women's race in the past 25 minutes.
No, and
or more.
I wonder, because if they got this feedback last year, you wonder why they didn't apply it.
I'd like to just have them check in so we can see what's going on.
It's very easy. I've been involved in easy's real. It's fairly straightforward. I've been involved in, Alex and I both have been involved in a marathon broadcast. We were involved in the Toronto broadcast. I was for a bunch of years doing the commentary and being involved in like sort of the production end of things, behind the scenes of it. And it just takes a producer and a director and the team to make decisions about what they're going to cover, where the motos with the cameras are going to go, who they're going to stay with. And then literally, unless they're having very serious technical problems with the cameras, which does happen.
I'm sure it does.
And even if it does happen, you can pull a camera, a B camera or a C camera off one of the guys' groups and send it back to the lead women if there's a problem with their main camera, which you have to do in an elite race. So there isn't really an excuse for not showing more of the women's race today.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. We still haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Okay, here we.
That's Ando of Japan. They're showing here. They're 20 miles in the women's side here as well.
Also, if we're in the like crap on the live stream segment of this thing, I'm gonna say, like, I'm not sure who is responsible for the lagginess of the stream. Like, we've, you know,
that's a complicated thing that only FlowTrack, who carries the stream in North America, could answer. Like, it could be just from the source. It could be the source feed is not great. It could be them. It could be it's a server issue. Who knows?
We've got Kibete.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Your wish is their command.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
Guys, she's got a 2.5 minute lead on the second lead.
Amazing.
So she's 34 and change kilometers into the race right now. And at 30K, she went through in 134.44. And she is in a group still with like 10 guys.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to sort of give myself a pat on the back here, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Let's hear it.
Her lead pacer dropped off, but I said before,
The ghost pacer.
the ghost pacer,
Still there?
the on athlete who is running in her group, lo and behold,
Yes,
there he is.
there he is.
They have the
pacing
same
for her.
uniform. They've
Yeah.
got the same. Yeah, they're
Look at
running
that.
together.
Listen, kudos to whomever put that together, be it her agent, on her training group. I'll bet you one Sam Adams beer here in Boston that dude trains with her.
Yep.
And they're just copying what Ruth Jepton-Gedich did, which is great.
Now, I have a question. Why would they just not make this guy a legit pacer? Why would he not just apply to be a legit pacer?
Because then he can stay there the entire race with her. He can stay to 42.194 kilometers and then step off with 10 meters to go.
There you go.
He can help her deliver. He can help deliver her to her best performance she could possibly get. Whereas a pacer situation, if she falls off, the pacer won't stay with her, or the pacer is probably instructed to drop off at either 30 or at max 35K. It's usually 30. Well, we saw in the men's race, the last pacer literally pieced out one step after the 30-kilometer mark. He's like, I'm not running another kilometer.
The guys behind him almost smashed right into him. He didn't get off. He didn't get off the road fast enough.
Exactly. It's like he's going to do a barrel roll into the bike lane. You know. Like,
so this means Kibede knew exactly what she was doing. She had this plan to go, call it 2:13 from the gun, because she's still on about 2:13 pace. We're getting near the end.
Yeah. So we're watching the three guys here. Galetta is behind Tekele and Gedich,
and he's leaning a little funny.
And he's leaning a little funny, and he's starting to. There's just one body length between them now.
Yeah.
And here we got the B group here, and I gotta say, Katelyn, your boy, Cheptegei, he's driving the bus.
He's going strong. Let's go.
The B group is blown apart.
Yep.
Cheptegei, and I think it's Kissa, his teammate from NN Running, is with him, and they're pushing pretty good. This is good for Cheptegei.
This is good for him. He needs a comeback. I need him to have his comeback.
I'll go ahead and say that if he's looking this strong, this deep into the race, he might run somebody down who's ahead of him.
I hope it's not Benson Caputo, because that's my thing.
No, I hope it is.
If Cheptegei beats Benson Caputo, I owe you a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how you just put that bet on yourself.
No, but I'm bringing it up because if it stays status quo, you owe me a drink.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
deal.
Yeah. So this race is really it's starting to stretch out here, and so there's a couple of good turns here, including one hairpin turn that they've got to do.
Which the last one, right?
It did show. So Kibede is pointing. She's coming in. Yeah, she's coming to the aid station. She's a pro, man.
Yeah.
She's obviously a pro. She's one of the best runners in the world.
She is by definition a pro, yes.
But just really smart runner. She went through the bottle station here, and there was a group of Japanese men running with her, and she just did a little point. She's just
I'm going there.
I'm going there. Get out of my way. And got her bottle. Got out of trouble. Didn't have to break her step at all. Her stride.
Where's her teammate?
Yeah, where's her teammate? Had just disappeared on her.
The ghost
is gone. So maybe I'm wrong about that one. He's just gone. But maybe he took her to 35. Actually,
maybe that was it.
Oh,
maybe
he
took her to 35, and
also,
now he's gone.
I'll say I'm pretty convinced. We suspected this before. But I'm pretty convinced now. Those shoes she's wearing are prototypes.
Yes,
I don't think those are the Cloud Strike LSs that we've seen on Helen Obiri's feet. I think those are newly improved shoes.
And she ran 35K in 1:51:15.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you have it. Yeah, she's looking good. She's looking really good.
She is. She's looking super strong. And now she's leading the pack of all these guys.
Yeah, come on, dude. Get in front. Somebody get in front.
Yeah.
Somebody get in front. Don't
do the drafting.
Yeah,
she's doing all
these guys
the work.
are just sucking her wind.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
actually disgraceful. Come on. Somebody. Oh.
Do we have a break in the guys' race here?
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like just before our stream cut again, it looks like Galetta has dropped a little bit.
Has fallen off a bit. Yeah, so now it's a two-man race.
Yep.
Oh, looking that
way.
No,
it's not Galetta. That's that's Gedich.
Yeah, that's Gedich who dropped back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Galetta's
so Tekele and Galetta are now driving the bus with the former with Tekele running
with 3K to go.
who's looking good, and he's
Is
dialing in.
Is this a camera thing going on? I could see like some orange.
Yeah,
on his
I don't
face.
know. I don't know. So 1357 between 30 and 35K.
1451. I think 1351 is a world record.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I read I was like,
that's
oh my
you're
God.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah. So
I was like-
on the right.
So they are falling off.
They're
slipping
about
off.
Well,
a minute
they
behind
are,
the-
but also that last 5K split in comparison to the world record was so off because that 5K split during the world record was insanely fast.
Yeah,
Kelvin
Right.
Kiptum dropped a 1351
That's
between 30
insane.
and 35K. So
That's
these guys are a
insane.
minute off of
Well,
that.
then that's
but they're-
fine.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
He's
acceptable then.
Acceptable.
he's the only man to ever run under 1 hour in the second half of a marathon.
Mhm.
That's it. But look, Tekele
We've
is
got
like,
the we've got the break here. So we're
Yep.
39.1 whatever 15 kilometers in here.
Yep.
And Tekele's
go.
made his big break here. He's very
Ooh.
quickly gained
few
3
seconds.
seconds,
Yep.
4
Yeah.
seconds, 5 seconds
Mm-hmm.
on Galetta, and then Ingetich is another 5-7 seconds behind him. So they're strung out now.
and it's hard to tell from this angle when people speed up, but his last kilometer going from a 3 flat was a 251. So yeah, he's gonna put a gap on
He's
these guys.
speeding up.
Yep.
Yeah. He looks like, so it looks like the number 2, number 3, we don't know yet. And listen, we've seen runners come back.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a huge gap, but it's starting to widen, I think. I think Galetta is sort of fading back here. Tekele's looking really good.
Yes. Okay. So this is going to be, if Tekele wins, this is going to be the first huge, let's say, accomplishment of his career. The first world major victory.
Yeah.
First major marathon win. I'm still trying to figure out what's on his feet. The V2, the Evo's V2. He's looking like he's just picking it up. Look, they're going over a slight hill. And he's looking at his
looking
watch.
back. He's
that's-
worried. He's looking back.
No, that's never a good look. I think,
No.
you're giving, well, you told us this on the run this morning. You see someone running in front of you and then looking
Looking over
behind in anguish. This just gives you energy.
Yeah.
Tekele should look straight forward and go.
Maybe he's looking back to see just how hard he needs to push. Like he still has the energy, but he doesn't want to push harder than he has to win the race.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's still 3 kilometers to
Yeah.
go.
He still has,
Right?
he still has quite a way to go.
So there's a lot that can happen. Like, let's pull up our Tekele file.
He is 22 years old.
He's 22.
22?
It's that beard, man.
I know he's an ageless 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the U23 marathon all-time best time in 2:03. He ran steeplechase in the Olympics. He ran 3,000 meter steeplechase in 2020. In 2020.
Look,
He ran 2021.
Look, full disclosure, he's not one of our top guys that we've
Imagine.
researched. Yeah, we had a list of like our
Yeah.
probably 7 to 10 top choices.
Our news editor Jesse had him on 11 athletes to watch on our site today.
Oh, good.
and he was athlete
Go,
number 11,
Jesse.
right?
No, he wasn't. He was like number 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good
Because
for Jesse for putting
you're 22 years
in there.
old. You've
Yeah.
run 2:03. You have a little bit of marathon majors experience. There's always potential for a giant breakthrough at this stage.
There you
right?
go.
This is the moment where you see these breakthroughs happen with these
Hey.
athletes, right?
40K, 156.59. He's got 11 seconds on Galetta.
I think it's
seconds
it's a
is
race for
Wow.
second place now.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, but 11 seconds isn't unsurmountable.
Mm,
Tekele just needs to keep it together,
in
though.
2 kilometers,
He's just got
it's
2K to
it's a lot.
go.
It's a lot.
It's a
Oh.
lot in the marathon. It's with 2K to
Rarely
go.
happens.
It's when he's running so well.
Yeah.
And he knows he's got it. I mean,
Yep.
it's just unless he's just absolutely
Okay.
destroyed himself to
another look.
try.
Don't look. Just go.
He keeps looking over his shoulder.
That's an interesting question. Are you a look over the shoulder guy or not?
I used to be, but then I realized it doesn't help me at all.
No.
If you're at that stage, you just give everything you got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
I also don't. I
no.
don't look over my shoulder.
I mean,
No.
not like I'm winning many races or whatever, but like in the local race that you're running and
Yeah.
you're competing with your peers. I don't.
Yeah.
I just I tell myself
Yep.
I actually tell myself, don't look over your shoulder and run as if there's someone hunting you down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I run
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
That's good.
So Caitlin does her easy runs.
When I was a kid, once I looked over
There's
my
a
shoulder.
panther chasing me.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And that has happened to some of
It
us.
has happened.
Some of us who
Yes.
live in Costa Rica.
Katelyn has encountered a panther in a run.
A black jaguar.
Black jaguar.
Black jaguar. Sorry.
Yeah, it was like a 1 in a million chance, but it did happen. It was not chasing
happen.
me down, luckily. But it did stop me in my tracks. And my heart rate, for some reason, went to zone 50,000 in the
For some reason.
I was
Your
like,
watch exploded.
oh my God. Yeah, my watch basically exploded, and so did my heart.
You have now died. Is there like a setting in the Garmin where it's like you have died and gone to running heaven? It's like zone 8.
It was beeping incessantly. And I was like, I'm not even running. I'm at a standstill waiting to see where the panther went.
So
Guy's 2 minutes behind, 2:10 behind first place.
Which would put him in the 205 range.
Okay, come on.
I think.
Let's do this.
I think it's safe to say that this is going to be a step up for Joshua Cheptegei.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also,
a top 10 finish.
Yep.
For sure. He's right now sitting in 8th place. He's just behind Benson Kipruto. He's only 3 seconds behind Kipruto.
Oh my God.
At 40K. So
this is more important to me than first and second place right now.
There's 3 athletes right in front, like 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds ahead of Cheptegei at the 40K split. So Cheptegei can move up a few spots. He could move up from 8.
And I mean, he's got the speed, right?
He could move up from 8 to 6.
Yeah.
Oh God. You get Joshua Cheptegei in the last 400 meters of a race. Forget it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is very true.
Yeah. 12:36 for 5K, 5,000 meters.
So we've got our leader, Katelyn, coming through with 1K to go. He's just passing through.
Yeah, that's it.
41.1K. He's put a significant gap on second place, even in the last kilometer.
2:53. So his last 3 kilometers, 2:51, 2:51, 2:53. That's blazing fast.
That was after them running like kind of pokey Ks for their ability level.
Yeah.
They were running more like 2:05 pace there for the last few kilometers.
Yeah.
It's like some 3-minute kilometers.
So yeah, I suppose he's reined it back, and he's the only guy who's been able to tap into that last gear. So just over 2 hours of running and less than a kilometer to go. Oh boy.
So he's 800 meters to go before he wins the 2025 Tokyo Marathon. So we're gonna have a new winner of the Tokyo Marathon this year. It's gonna be Tadesse Tekele of Ethiopia, the 22-year-old. I can just call it right now, barring some sort of horrible disaster.
Something catastrophic would need to happen for him not to win.
Yeah.
He was wearing they just have the name on the bib, but he was the number 5 athlete.
Okay.
And they sort of rank them by, I guess, by entry time. He was the number 5 athlete.
Number 5 athlete.
He had a 2:03.24 personal best going into this from 2023. So this is a huge step for him in his career. Huge.
Yeah, he'll get around close to that personal best. Yeah, first major marathon victory.
Just thinking here. So Ethiopia's got Galeta. This kid Mengesa is also a really talented guy in his early 20s who won Berlin last fall. They've got a pretty deep bench of athletes as always, as they always do. So the ending of Tokyo is awesome. The end stretch here, they're going to turn and they're just run through the straight stretch. It's awesome. It's not quite London, like London's finish in front of Buckingham Palace.
Oh, Buckingham
Palace.
That's
goodness.
Incredible.
It's a great finish.
Tekele's looking at his watch a lot. That's
Why is he
really
looking
weird.
at his watch?
I don't know.
He's late for a brunch.
Yeah. See if he beats his PR. I think.
Well,
he's
probably
that's
looking.
Probably what
he's probably thinking I just really want to get. He was probably doing the sub 203 math, and he's like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna get sub 203, but it's gonna be really close to my personal best, which is 203.24.
Yeah.
200 meters. Go, kick it.
Personal best means a lot at any level, I would say.
Yeah.
Even if you're one of the great runners in the world and you're winning a marathon major, it's the cherry on top to get a personal best.
Of course, go.
There's a nice view.
Yeah, it's a cool finish.
Of the finish.
Yeah. All right, so we're in the home stretch here. Last 100 and change meters. Oh man, go! You're gonna get there.
He's
looking at the watch. He's looking at the watch.
He's trying to beat it. Look at that.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna tie it. He's got it. 2:23.20.
Two?
Yeah.
203.
So
203,
Tekele
22.
of
23.
Ethiopia
So he's got a 1 second personal best.
gets himself a 1 second personal best
Good for him.
and wins
Awesome.
the Tokyo Marathon, his first major win.
22 years old.
You got Deresa
Galetta is
Galeta
coming in.
of Ethiopia. He's gonna win. He's gonna come in
Come
second
in
place.
second. Mm-hmm.
He's gonna finish in. These are unofficial times,
Right.
of course.
Just also under 204, 203,
203, 50 or 51. I'd
Mhm.
say solid time for him. He's a guy who's run 202, and then third place we've got
Vincent
Ngedich
Ngedich.
of Kenya, who looked like he was pretty happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
podium finish, nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I know.
Well
Getting on
done.
the podium in a
Alright.
major is a huge deal.
Yes.
And who is next?
204 flat for him.
Okay.
Who will be next?
Do we have a Japanese runner in fourth?
We very well may, and he will be off the national record time, but not far off, which just is like probably heartbreaking if you're so close.
right.
But
That's not our fourth place finisher, though. I think
there's-
it's just the
there's-
camera was
there's-
panning.
Yeah, okay. Because we're at 4170 where this camera is, right? So
Yeah.
we're 500 meters out, and Joshua Cheptegei was ahead of him there.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's
So this is
see
the top
between
Japanese
Cheptegei-
runner.
Yeah. So who's got it? It's going to be Cheptegei or is it going to be Kipruto?
I can't wait to see that finish.
Ah,
Get back
man.
on those guys.
I
We
don't
need the
like-
camera. We
I
need
don't-
the eyes on them.
Yeah. So we've
I
had the
don't-
top three male runners come in.
Yep.
So we've got our podium, and now we're just waiting for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are going to come streaming in really fast here in the next couple of seconds.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh man, this is like
Oh,
I mean, I know it's a compressed image here, but like
It looks like kind of a big group.
you've got like 6 guys
Yeah.
streaming in with
Hunting
only
down
a few
Kipruto.
seconds between each other.
here's our fourth place finisher, I think. He's not sure where the finish.
Yeah, that's Titus Kipruto.
Titus.
Kipruto.
We weren't expecting him to be the first Kipruto to cross the finish line
Oh,
today.
oh.
And look at this sprint for 5th place.
Oh, that's our guy. I think that's Benson Kipruto on the right.
Benson Kipruto's on the right. He finishes 6th.
205,
Uma
46.
finishes 5th.
I think Cheptegei is just under that 206 mark.
Yeah, he just comes in. That was Cheptegei finishing right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So he,
205.59.
so he goes from 208.59 to 205.59.
Okay.
It's better, man. It's wow.
So 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So
All
Cheptegei's
right.
9th place, 205.59.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a good step forward for him. Another 59,
Yep.
dipping under. So
Yeah,
he went
see,
from
3
208.59 to 205.59.
Yeah.
That's
A 3-minute personal best. I'll take it.
the talent level of that magnitude. You want the guy to like as a fan of distance running, you want him to stay in the game, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Flip to the women now. Kibede running still by herself.
Completely
Now she's all
alone.
alone.
Yeah, now
She's all alone.
I mean, she's been all alone for a
Like
while.
she's all
Yeah.
alone. There's no
men.
men running with her now. She's on her own.
Yeah. She's got
She
less than
broke
3K to
away.
go,
Yes.
and she's at 206.45. So I think she's slowed a bit, actually. 206.52. Yeah. We're probably looking at a 214, 215 for her right now.
So you
Just-
think she's going to break her personal best?
I think she will.
Yeah.
I think she will.
I'm still a little bit in shock that we're watching someone run faster than Paula Radcliffe ran her world record in, and we're like not like our jaws not dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
we're kind of like, it's pretty good.
She has slowed a lot. So
Yeah.
she's been like in the 1540 to 1550 range every 5K. And the last 5K was 1631. So she's feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
She could have really used the help that Cheptegei
course.
got in
Yep.
Chicago. She could have really used somebody with her at this stage. 'Cause
Yeah.
she's all alone doing the work on her own, which, she's a very clearly, obviously a very like tough, accomplished, mentally strong
Mhm.
distance runner. But you just got to think that just helps.
It wouldn't have
helps.
hurt to have a couple guys out there in
Yeah.
front.
Yeah, exactly. Or obviously, the ideal scenario is another woman to compete with
Oh, of course.
to push you
Mhm.
even more,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah, to have the competition. I mean, that's always going to make you run faster. She knows she's out there on her own. She knows she's going to win the race.
yeah, I mean,
So-
geez, that's a tough scenario.
It
where
is. Because, like, how hard do I push? Do I want a time?
she'd probably get feedback at some point on the course from someone in her team.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be a check-in at either 30 or 35 from an agent or somebody in her squad on the course that would give her some sense of how far ahead she was.
Mhm.
That is almost like a curse more than a blessing. If they're like, you've got a minute and a half on the next person.
There are 7-Elevens in Japan.
Oh yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still
global?
a thriving thing there. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
global thing, and I think it's like a thing in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 208, 35, 40K for Kibede. Yeah, we're looking at she's gonna beat her personal best, but we're looking at 214, 215 low, maybe.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They're getting a good shot of the shoes there.
Yeah,
Alex.
they
You're like,
yeah.
Can we
We're
do
trying
a
to figure 'em
screenshot?
out.
I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
I'm all but convinced that she's wearing Light Strike LS, the robot shoe, the new prototype version of that.
Yeah, I think so.
They've been
Looks that way.
It's actually a really cool thing when you're dealing with when you're dealing with a CNC, like a machine that a robotics machine that you can program in really specifically, and then you can tune that midsole, and then you can spin that upper. Really, you can just try different versions over and over again. Basically, you're just like constantly making prototype shoes, effectively, right?
Yeah. You could switch it up at any time.
You're not going through a mass manufacturing
Right,
process.
exactly.
You're making a one of one model every time you're making
you
the
could
shoe.
tweak it any way you want, anytime you want.
It's potentially a real advantage for On, actually.
Yeah.
Which, I wouldn't be surprised. Like Nike's definitely we'll borrow that idea type company, as long as the patents aren't too strong, right? So we're catching the end. I guess like last under 2K in the women's in the lead for the leader of the women's race.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yuka Ando of Japan here. They've got her on screen right now. She's just at about just over 38 and a half kilometers.
Yeah. So keeping an eye on the comments. Meanwhile, we have a lot of viewers who want to know how Jake is doing. We find anything
we don't know how
Jake
is doing because
we don't see him.
Because I think he was in the lead group with Kibede. He was he must have fallen off. Or I don't think anyone went ahead of her.
I don't know. Well, or she got dropped because she got a lot.
She slowed down a bit. Good point.
Yeah. So
we don't know.
No, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know because we just see her alone at this point.
Yeah.
We also had a quiz about 7-Eleven. Someone said, did 7-Eleven originate in Japan?
No.
It did not. It originated in Dallas, Texas.
Did it really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
That's like a Dallas. That's a Dallas. Yeah, I could see 7-Elevens coming from Dallas. It's always weird when you go to a 7-Eleven and it's not open until 11 or it doesn't open at 7.
Some of them are 24 hours.
Right.
Some of them are 24 hours.
Yeah.
I thought they were 24 hours.
It's so misleading. Also,
what's in a name?
It's true. A very interesting form by Ando, someone says. And yeah.
I always refrain from talking about form because people are very sensitive about form. And I actually am of the mind that form isn't as huge a factor, especially at the elite level, because you've trained in. We had an episode of the podcast about running economy, and we sort of talked about this to a degree,
right?
Where it's like if you've trained in a huge amount of your running economy with that specific form you have, whatever that is, you're pretty efficient at that point,
right?
And her form is like she's got the dropped arms, right? And like she's doesn't have much of an arm swing, sort of like running with your arms to the side,
right?
And I actually, your coach, John LaFranco, shout out to John.
Is John watching this?
Who knows? He's lurking. He's always lurking.
He's always lurking.
He was saying his kid was asking him if it was faster and more efficient to run without an arm swing because you're wasting less energy, which is a really interesting thought process. And John pointed out, you actually run faster with more of an arm swing because your arms and your legs have a kinetic relationship. And I tell like my elementary school kids I coach, I tell them like, use your arms and your legs will follow. Like
I've heard that before.
Pump the arms a little bit and your legs will follow.
So you got Jess Stinson here of Australia, who just went ahead of Ando.
Yeah. She just took the 10th place spot for now.
Really good runner from Australia. It's been in the game for a long time. I met her at one point in Toronto. She ran the Toronto Waterfront Marathon once, and she actually ran. She was like at the front, if you remember, at the Paris Olympics at one point for a while in the Olympics.
Yes.
Yeah. So she looks like she's having a pretty good race.
So Kibede is inside of 1 kilometer to go 212 mid. We're gonna be in the 215s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, listen, again, this is like we just saw with Tekele, the men's winner. He ran a personal best unofficially by 1 second. And the guy was checking his watch all the way to the finish line. You know why he was doing it. He was like, I want to run a personal best, which is awesome.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's a big
He's
motivator.
checking to
I'm
see if he's
making
going to do it.
Ooh.
At an elite level, I'm making a positive step forward.
Yep.
Right. And she's got to be thinking the same thing right now, where she's just like, I just want to bring that time from 2:15:55, where she's at right now. I want to bring that down to 2:15, whatever.
54 at this point.
Yeah.
That's
I'm bringing that into, I'll bring that into this like slight new echelon, and then I can make a jump next time around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's gonna
I don't
get
think
it.
so.
You don't
She's
think so?
slowing.
She's slowing a lot. So her last 5K split was, so she went from in the 15s to 16 flat to
You're in a
16:30
17:20.
to
Yeah.
17:20.
She really slowed down for this last 5K.
A 17:20 5K. That's for an athlete of her caliber, that's like bleeding out slow, right? So yeah, she just wants to get home to the finish line and get this thing done
And get first place and
win another Tokyo Marathon, win another major, and move on to the fall.
Yes. Yeah. No,
500 meters to go.
She's not getting it for sure. She's not getting it for sure.
Well, doing the math here, she's exactly 2 minutes out, or sorry, 1 minute out from her.
And she's got half a kilometer to go.
And she's got she's got 400
meters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She had such a lead. And she's got some guys to chase here, so that's good.
Yeah.
It's
that'll help her close.
I mean, like I've won a major marathon before, but it is tough to lead from the front from the gun like that. And then hold that intensity and win the race. It's tough. I can only imagine.
I'm reading the comments. Listen, guys, we're sorry we don't know more about Jake.
I know.
We won't make this mistake next year. We got to meet this guy. And
get Jake on the podcast.
These guys are like,
hold on.
They're like, why they don't know about Jake?
If A, if Jake exists. B,
guys.
Oh, he exists.
Listen.
He exists.
Okay.
He exists.
Yeah.
If Jake will join us, we'll talk to Jake.
Totally.
All right.
Yeah, we'll do a Jake episode on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
I love talking to like runners who are like super passionate.
It's amazing, man. Yeah.
About the sport. Oh my goodness. She's like just
so close.
Kibete is just 200 meters out of the finish here. She just passed the 42K mark. So she's 195 meters away. And she just her personal best of 1:15:55 just ticked off there.
Right.
So
yeah.
She's still about 200 meters out.
Yeah. So very tough last part of the race.
Yeah.
But hey,
she'll run it just under 170.
Yeah, win is
she'll
win.
run the 116s, right? So
yeah. Oh, and there. Okay. Apologies. The stream goes up and down, but we just saw her.
So we saw her finish. She just finished in 2:16:31. She wins the Tokyo Marathon.
Big smile.
Big smile.
There you go.
It's like, yeah, I'm happy.
Hey,
I did it. I ran alone. That was tough.
Yeah, probably a pretty good positive split, and you can tell it on her face. Like, that's somebody who came to win, got it done, but had bigger ambitions. And it was kind of like, okay, maybe not today, but like we'll get there.
Is that second place?
That's second, and that's third.
Hey, you know what?
That's
she really reeled her in. Mosetti 2:16:56.
Yeah.
Faisa of Ethiopia 2:17 flat. So they both finished within 30 seconds.
Yeah, they were real close
Kibete,
actually.
So Kibete just hung on.
Yeah.
For dear life.
Yeah, she really did.
At a couple.
So no wonder she had this look on their face like, ooh, that was.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't do it that way anymore.
Wow.
In the future. But at the same time, like, listen, if you have a plan and you have a level of fitness that is pointing you in one direction time wise, you got to go for it.
Yeah.
You got to go for it. And she's somebody who's like, she's in the top tier of marathoners in the world, right? I mean, clearly she just won a major.
Yeah.
But just I don't know what the power ranking would be on the women's side right now off the top of my head here. You got to let's do that. Let's do a little exercise here. Power ranking the women's marathon runners in the world. Ruth Chepngetich, number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Tigges
Sefa
is 2.
Is she, or is it
Sifan
Hassan?
Hassan? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Probably Sifan Hassan is like, if we're talking power ranking, we're talking like.
Do we factor in other races or no?
Let's just do like
just marathon.
Just marathon.
Because Sifan Hassan is it like also track superstar?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Like They're all in the race together.
Mm-hmm.
They're all fresh. They're all healthy. They're all in their A game. Power rank them. You pick Chepton Gedich first. He's the world record holder by a long shot.
Yep.
I think you go see Hassan based on time and ability to win.
Yeah, I think I agree actually, because the reason Hassan hasn't been as prolific as Sefa on the major scene is she's always up to other things.
Yeah.
She's got track meets.
She's doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, make her just focus on the marathon and get her going. Yeah.
And then you would probably put a Sefa.
Yes.
And then it's probably Situme Kibete at this point.
Yeah.
After that.
A case for that.
And then you get other players like Helen Obiri is going to be in there.
Oh, she's a
Sharon
gamer.
Loketti is in there. It sort of gets a little murkier after that. But yeah, Kibete is like, she's sort of like, I guess she's top 5.
She's way up there.
Yeah. Call her the next one. One of the next ones.
Yeah. I mean, would you be surprised if she ran 2:12 in the fall?
I mean, she's got a way to go.
Yeah.
Right? She's got a way to go. But hey, I mean, she was on pace for that for those 30 kilometers.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah.
Kibete, Massetti, Faisa.
1, 2, 3. And they were all within 30 seconds.
That was a closer race than we thought.
It was much closer than we thought.
It became a very close race in the last 5 kilometers.
Yeah, when Kibete started to fall back a little bit.
She was going one direction.
Right.
The second and third place finishers were going in another direction altogether.
Yeah.
Rosemary Wanjiru finished former Tokyo winner, finished in 5th.
Yeah.
You've got 5 women under 220.
Yep.
Pretty solid
That's
performance.
Good.
Awesome.
Deep.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to, I think we can wrap this up.
Yeah.
And we're going to pivot into doing a instant reaction podcast. We're going to take a few minutes break.
Eat a couple.
We're going to hose ourselves down.
Exactly.
We're going to take a
Get
pee
some
break.
water.
Get some water.
Yeah.
And then we're going to kind of digest what we just saw.
Yep.
And then we will come back and we're going to record an instant reaction podcast that we're going to put out on our podcast feed, like pretty much right away. We'll aim for 20 to 30 minutes. We'll keep it short and sweet. And we'll give you our sort of like our lingering takes from the 2025 Tokyo Marathon. We'll put it out on our feed. If you don't subscribe to our podcast already, please do so. You can find it by just searching Marathon Handbook Podcast in any of your fine purveyors of podcasts on the internet. And you can watch a video version of it on YouTube and then also on Spotify as well. So we may actually even do we do a live stream of our instant reaction podcast?
Yeah, we're going to have to figure out. There's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
What do we do?
If you are not sick of us after 3 hours of talking about the marathon and you want to come back and listen to our live stream of the instant reaction podcast, we will do that.
And thanks.
Yeah,
guys.
thanks, guys. We're getting some great
comments. You guys are very kind.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's a lot more fun when we know that there are people listening and that we can riff with you. So thanks for watching it with us.
This was an experiment on our part.
It was.
And it's very lo-fi. It's one camera pointing. We have a second camera that obviously isn't that dramatically an improvement. We wanted to try this out, A, to see if it technically would work.
Right.
Yes.
B, if there was any kind of an audience, which there is, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then C, thinking about the future, doing this for other stuff and maybe doing it with a little bit more sparkle in the future. So it'll be a little bit more visually interesting. And maybe in the future we'll do it for other races and maybe we'll bring in a special guest or two. Maybe we'll do like a call-in thing. I don't know what we'll do. We're going to experiment with the format.
We're working on it.
So subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can get a heads up as to when we do that stuff in the future. And we'll try to be also a little bit more communicative about when we're doing this stuff because we didn't know if this was even going to work.
Yeah, we weren't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to come back on our channel in, I don't know, we got to pump this out in about a half an hour's time.
Yeah, I'd say.
And come back in about a half an hour's time. We'll do our instant reaction podcast. We'll record it. We'll stream it live on YouTube and we'll record it and push it out on our podcast feed and on YouTube as a standalone video after the fact as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great. And finally, just more importantly, and just the real takeaway of this whole thing, 2:14:52 for Jake, apparently, says.
Hey,
great job,
Jake.
week.
2:14:52. I know he was
15.
he was going for a 2:12.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have a Jake episode.
Yeah,
It's like the
now we need one. So.
2:14:52
He has a lot of fans.
is a really impressive time. I'm sure it's not what he was looking for, but we should dig into
fun.
Jake's splits for
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Congratulations,
we'll do a
Jake.
small Jake segment in the Instant Reaction podcast coming up in about 20 or 30 minutes. Okay.
Stay tuned.
All right. Thanks for watching. We're going to cut
Thanks.
the feed now.